Well, folks, I gotta say, the future's looking pretty bright for Spidey. He's in the Avengers, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, where he should be. He's got a pretty good-looking movie, which looks to be catchy and stuff, and I gotta say, his current live-action fare is nice with the animated eyes. Well, I have to say, though, it was tough having come from Sam Raimi and... Oh, right! There was something in between Sam Raimi and, Tom Holland's Spider-Man.
Yeah, this is the Amazing Spider-Man from 2012.
Now, okay. Before I get a lot of hate, I don't really have much stuff against Andrew Garfield. In fact, he was a pretty good Spider-Man. Pretty good. I'll bring up issues I have with him. But, yeah, Amazing Spider-Man. This was a duology that started off getting overly praised, in my opinion, and then came crashing down.
I don't see that. I mean, even back when it first came out, I mean, it
got
good reviews, but not like glowing reviews.
Pedro, think about it like this. The big praise was, it's not Spider-Man free! Thank God it's not Spider-Man free! That kind of praise, you get where I'm coming from.
I guess, but I still don't see I still don't find that glowing praise, but sure.
But don't worry, Joe. The director's last name is Webb. I think we're in good hands.
Don't worry. Don't worry, Pedro. I still think that Amazing Spider-Man 1 is a good movie, but trust me, people were singing its praises, including Doug Walker. I mean, okay, look, I'll probably be able to explain better when we actually get to it.
Doug Walker is incredibly biased when it comes to his movie views, so it's I never take his word for anything.
Let's not beat around the bush too much. I'll probably be able to elaborate better when we actually get to seeing the movie. We also have a Shiroi with us, Sam Raimi veteran fan along with me.
Yeah, the only thing she knows of Spider-Man is the Raimi films, aka the original trilogy from 2002, 2004, and 2007.
Thankfully, those cover well enough that you'll be able to at least get the gist of what's going on here.
Well, this is the origin story again, so she already knows it anyway. So
yeah.
Well, I already knew it before those movies. I mean, that like comic book stories are kind of here or there.
Yeah, Spider-Man has become such an iconic character that pretty much everybody knows at this point.
Anyway,
which is why they're actually not making an origin story. But
anyway,
yes.
let's start before the Columbia Pictures logo.
Yeah. All right then, audience. 3, 2, 1, click. Now, when I say that this thing got overpraised, trust me, I mean, maybe it didn't get a lot of praise in you guys' regions, but over here it got a lot of praise saying, wow, this will show them how to do this or that better than the Raimi trilogy.
Even if I don't think the movie's great exactly, I do actually like it more than the first Raimi movie. I mean, I'm only going to compare it to the first Raimi movie because, well, both movies are very similar since both of them tell the origin story. So... like I said, I personally like this take on the origin story better than what Raimi did in the first movie because I felt my problem with the first Raimi movie is that he went for the 60s campy style, and quite honestly, by 2002, I kind of think we should have been over by that by now, especially considering the campy style almost killed the Batman movie franchise before Christopher Nolan saved it.
Yeah, I felt that it was a mixture.
I gotta say, Joe, but this opening title sequence reminded me of the Raimi trilogy a bit.
Yeah, I agree. It did. Okay. If there's one thing I gotta say, this movie has an amazing soundtrack. Brought to you by the sadly now passed James Horner.
Film composing legend.
You know what's sadly ironic?
What? He
did music for a disaster movie, Titanic, and then died in a disaster, a plane crash.
Anyway, okay, I'm at least glad. Okay, was this his final score, or did he do any one after this?
It's one of his last. I think it was definitely his last
major blockbuster score, I'm guessing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now here's one thing this movie actually does different from the Raimi trilogy, and oh wait, Peter's playing hide and seek with.
Yeah. Actually, about the thing. I will not bring up why I don't like what they do with the story with the parents because they only tell that in the second movie. But so for now, I'll just ignore it.
Okay. Yeah. In fact, that's gonna be a problem I bring up a lot in this movie. This movie, for as good as it is, does rely a lot on sequel baiting.
It does. Yeah.
Okay, but I'll admit I was one of the people who also was kind of praising this movie. Admittedly, though, for me, it was a case of me kind of being really disappointed that Spider-Man 4 got canceled, and that was back before we knew that it wasn't actually Sam Raimi's decision, it was Sony's decision screwing him over. Now that we know, well, it's like with Mighty Number 9, the personas have switched.
Well, since I disliked Spider-Man 3, honestly, and quite honestly, 3 movies was already a pretty good number for an
Well,
entire cycle.
I think the sad thing is, like, well, Spider-Man 3 didn't go nearly as well as Sam Raimi wanted to, but okay, that's probably a better save for a different commentary. Now, here's the main thing. Anyone who's seen Ang Lee's Hulk movie knows where this is going. Peter has blood in him.
Well, okay, let's give some credit, though. Unlike the Ang Lee Hulk movie, this movie at least has a fucking sense of humor.
Yeah, I'll agree.
Well, what are you talking about, Pedro? The Ang Lee film does have a sense of humor. It's unintentional with those comic book transitions, but still.
Now, here's one thing I don't get. Why does Peter have the weird genetic DNA in him? Now, it made sense in... I can't believe I'm saying this. It made sense in the Ang Lee Hope movie because we saw, you know, Bruce Banner's dead doing all that weird genetic stuff, but...
That's just the thing. They
why
only explain
here?
that in the sequel.
Wait, hold on. I don't even know if they actually complete... Well... Okay, sure, I'm just gonna let you know here, we can kind of all agree that the sequel sucks, to put it lightly.
It does technically suck, but I have to say, I have fun watching it. Despite
Oh,
me
I agree.
too.
Oh, I agree. Oh, I agree. It's like, oh, okay, it sucks in the way that it's fun to watch a train wreck. Fun to watch a cartoonish train wreck.
It's not Van Forstic at least, where no one has any fun.
No. I mean, not even Catwoman is Van Forstic level of terrible. But yeah, basically, Peter had to be left with his aunt and uncle. Okay, bit of a bad.
And here's one thing that I would like to mention. Like, okay, Job already mentioned how even though he's not the biggest fan, Andrew Garfield. I actually really like Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man, and like I mentioned in the social commentary social network commentary, he was the only good thing about Social Network. So I'm glad that he actually managed to get into a better movie after that. But anyway, like I was saying, if there's one thing I definitely will defend about this movie is the casting. I actually think the casting for this movie is very spot on. I mean, Andrew Garfield is a really good Peter Parker. He has that dorky, but not too dorky vibe with Peter. One of the things that I didn't like about Tobey Maguire in the Raimi films is that he didn't really feel like a nerd. He felt more like a dweeb, and I think well, see, the thing is,
he kind of was a dweeb, though. I mean, before getting the spider powers.
I don't know. I kind of maybe it's more like a personal preference or something, but I kind of like it when Peter Parker's not being too much of a dweeb. I don't know.
Although
I passed a couple making out.
Guys, can you take it to like underneath the stairs or some shit?
Oh, but sure, don't you get it? This is high school where we have.
Oh, here we go. Emma Stone plays Gwen Stacy, and I'm a big fan of Emma Stone. In fact, she recently won an Oscar. And I really love her as Gwen Stacy. I think she's a much better love interest than fucking Mary Jane for the term. I think we can all at least agree that the Mary Jane from the Raimi trilogy was just nothing but a fucking dumb slut who did nothing.
Hold on. What is it, Sherry?
It's nothing to do with this movie in particular. It's just an observation. I mean, why are American schools specifically portrayed as being the worst places to ever be?
It's just a common movie trope, Shiroi.
Oh.
But yeah, this is Flash Thompson. Just like in the Raimi movie. Well, and like I said, Flash Thompson was always a bull character interpretation anyway, so this is par for the course, honestly.
Although I will say that
in fiction are portrayed schools. It's like all schools. I mean, in fiction are portrayed as hell.
Yeah, I will say though that I kind of find the Flash from the Sam Raimi trilogy to have been a bit more better because he was a bit more prominent, at least in the first movie. Whereas here, he kind of has even less of an effect.
Yeah. Actually, I'll give you that. Yeah, Flash Thompson in the original Raimi film was more memorable. I will give you that. Yes.
Like seriously, the line I wouldn't want to fight me either. But yeah. Okay, about Peter Parker, I'm gonna be quite honest. Some of the parts where they try to make him seem nerdy are a bit forced, and unlike Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker, this Peter Parker kind of isn't that smart. I'm gonna.
I think I know where Jover's getting at.
We'll get to that in about.
There are several scenes circumventing it, but yeah, I'm gonna be quite honest. Also, he doesn't really seem Okay, yeah, okay, here's an issue, though. Okay, now see, with Tobey Maguire, when he was in Peter Parker phase, he looked nerdy. He had the glasses, everything, messed up hair, so you could see why he would, be a social outcast. Here, though, I'm sorry, Peter...
I'm gonna...
Joe, if I can raise an objection, not all nerds are the ones with scruffy hair.
Yeah.
Oh, I know that. Oh, I know that. I know that. What I'm saying is, like, well, with Tobey Maguire, you actually saw the change when he went from, being just Spider-Man or Peter Parker to being Spider-Man after getting bit. Here, though, I'm sorry, why exactly is he a social outcast? I mean, he's... Okay.
Well, Jova,
I'm not going to judge
social
by
outcasts people can be social outcasts for variously different reasons. I mean,
Fair
it's
point.
not always the stereotypical reasons.
Okay. Fair point. But not going off of appearances. Okay, not to go off of appearances, but I do have to wonder, though, Peter here seems a bit too cool, though. And when I say that, I mean, it's also the way he acts. Like, the way he acts, like, he acts smooth around people, so... Okay, yeah, that's what I don't get.
Not all nerds are basement dwellers.
Well,
by the way, I would like to
sure. I'm not saying that they are. And in fact, it's not even about him being a nerd.
I was just going to say, this time, Uncle Ben's played by Martin Sheen, and May is played by Sally Field.
That's right, Sally Field, one of the a tremendous actress, and I think she's a great because there's a lot of, even in the second movie, whenever she has to do some kind of emotional scene with Peter, she pulls it off flawlessly. It's Sally Field, for crying out loud.
Yeah, she's one of the best scenes of Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Sally Field as Aunt May is, if you ask me, awesome. Yeah. I think she nails every scene she's in. It's Sally Field. I mean, this woman knows her acting. Anyway, another thing. I also like... Oh, hold on. There you go. And this is where he finds his father's suitcase, aka Richard Parker. That was his name.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. We'll get to it later, but I think there's some bits that I think Mark Webb does better than Sam Raimi. If I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, of course.
One of which we'll see later on is the web swinging.
Well, to be fair, this is a 2012 movie compared to a 2002 movie. So if you're gonna compare,
let's just say, audience, that there's a particular web swinging scene involving construction work that I really love because it looks awesome. Like,
it does.
I don't care what people say. That scene in general is just so visually awesome. But anyway, we'll get to that. Well, another thing that I like to say, I'm getting a bit ahead of myself, but don't worry, I'll be quick. Okay, one of the problems I had with this Raimi trilogy, and this is kind of bad to me because I always love Peter and Mary Jane have always been one of my favorite comic book couples. One thing that I don't like about the Raimi trilogy is how completely devoid of chemistry Peter and Toby and
Kirsten
Dunst had, whereas Andrew and Emma Stone and here have plenty of great chemistry, and that's actually a really good reason for that. They actually got into a relationship during the filming of this movie.
Hey,
so that's interesting. So basically, when we see the chemistry developing, apparently it's actually real. Apparently,
okay,
so that's interesting.
Okay, I need to talk about this. Okay, really, the glasses thing is a bit forced. Like, okay,
how can glasses be forced?
No, what I mean is, like, well, they had to go out of their way to give him the glasses. Like, seriously.
Actually, Jova, believe it or not, let's see. The thing is, there are people that sometimes change between contact lenses and glasses. It depends on. Sometimes they can use them too often because otherwise.
I know that. I mean, heck, I even have both eye contacts and glasses. What I'm just saying is, like, well. It's I don't know, maybe it's just personally me, but it kind of feels like they're saying, oh, look, guys, we remember the glasses.
Honestly, Joe, I think you're just seeing problems.
That's a bit nitpicky.
I think you're just seeing a problem where it doesn't really exist, honestly.
I don't really understand what you're trying to say.
The glasses are forced. This movie is...
Not really. It just goes back to how I feel. I'm sorry, Andrew Garfield just doesn't really do it for me as Peter Parker. He just doesn't really... okay, I get it. He's a nerd, and yeah, you show that well, but it's like they're trying to say, look, he's a nerd. When I'm saying, okay, you've already proven he's a nerd. You don't have to go the stereotypical route by giving him glasses or doing all this and whatnot. And again, trying to portray
in terms of stereotyping, the glasses are the only thing they've given him.
Yeah, the thing is, like, well, honestly, trust me when I say this, though, it sort of goes back to him not being that smart. He's more of a jock than a brainy kid, which he normally is.
Actually, I don't know, Joe. One thing that I actually really like is how, even though he's technically a nerd, I like the fact that he also does play sports, because not all nerds are, you know.
Pedro, I didn't complain about him doing sports. When I say jock, I mean, no, I don't mean the sports kind of jock. Well, I mean, you know, jock as in, you know, the, high acting sort of, well, okay, technically plays sport, but you know, the bully kind. That's what I mean by that.
We'll see. I guess we'll have other times to
I don't
talk
see
about
it, but okay.
So
Again,
what
sure,
else have
that
you-
couples
what else
him
have you
with later.
So what else have you guys seen Martin Sheen in?
And Martin Sheen is, again, just like Sammy Field, he's a very accomplished actor by this point. So that's one thing that I will definitely give Sony when it comes to this movie. They definitely did not, they definitely didn't cut for expense when it comes to casting great actors.
I'll give these two films credit. I mean, unlike a couple of other disastrous superhero film reboots, I think Sony put in more effort into these two than, say, Fox did with Ant Stick.
You don't say.
Like that's, well, to be fair, like that's
I mean, come on, dude. Sam Stick was literally made on the cheap just so they could renew the rights. I mean, yeah.
And to be fair, yes, the main reason why the Amazing Spider-Man movies exist was because Sony wanted to keep the rights. Like I said, I actually think this first one is fine.
Okay, yeah. I agree with Pedro. I mean, yeah. However, though, it becomes really apparent how kind of cash grabbing they were with the sequel. But again, that's for the sequel.
The sequel worries itself more about creating a cinematic universe to compete with Marvel rather than just being a good movie in general. That's the problem.
Now,
okay.
Here's
and now we're going to be introduced, I think, to
Oscorp. I think.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
And,
yeah.
Now, Oscorp, and one of its employees, Dr. Kurt Connors, played by a Welsh actor, actually.
Okay, Shiro, remember how the
his name is Rhys Ifans.
Evans.
Shiro, a little help here.
It's Welsh. It's basically the Welsh equivalent to Evans.
Yeah.
All right.
That guy.
Ricifan. It sounds like it's pronounced Ricifan or something. Anyway, okay, Shiro, remember how in the first Raimi movie the villain was the Green Goblin, played by Willem Dafoe? Okay, basically, in here they actually went a bit more. Instead of just going straight for the Green Goblin, they picked a lesser-known Spider-Man villain, the Lizard, which you'll see eventually.
Okay, I'm gonna be quite honest.
So Norman Osborn is actually mentioned in this movie, but Harry and Norman won't show up until the sequel.
Okay.
Oh, the sequel.
We'll get to it, Jova. We'll get to it.
Jova, did Amazing Spider-Man 2 burn down your house?
Well, it doesn't help that I was accidentally in that movie, but anyway, though. But look, Dwibs, I'm gonna be quite honest. Look, you have to remember, back in the day, I was so hyped. Like,
I love the space.
Yeah.
Oh wait, hold on. Yeah.
No, I am this guy. I swear.
So,
they say stuff like that is only gonna make the situation worse for you.
Yeah, I'm gonna be quite honest. Peter, maybe you should actually sign up for one of these properly.
Remember, Jova, the enrollments were closed, so
yeah, but why not just wait till next year?
Because that's a long-ass time.
Well, my guess is he's here because it's just the fact that he's here. He loves at least watching these.
Yes.
All right, Shiva, this is Dr. Kurt Connors. As you can see, he's missing an arm, which is why he's experimenting with science that involves regenerating members.
Yeah. Limbs.
And before you ask, it's comic books. Science can pretty much do anything in these things, so just roll with it.
Okay, well, to be fair, trying to regrow limbs is actually an actual real scientific study as well, so it's close enough to real life. Well, aside from the results, obviously. Okay, a bit of a pet peeve of mine. I have to wonder, though, why wasn't Peter just on the list of students already going there? Again, this kind of goes back to that thing about how Peter
he
is...
just found out about it.
Hold on, let me finish. Although, see, okay, look, in the Sam Raimi trilogy, Peter was kind of already part of a field trip. Now, granted, that didn't have to do with being smart, but usually Peter was often scoring high in the honors. This kind of goes to that complaint, which, again, will snowball as it really becomes more noticeable, but again, Peter isn't really that smart in this duology. And again, that's sort of an issue. That's sort of an issue because, okay, look. There are many things about Spider-Man, but one of the things that is meant to be kept consistent about him is that he's supposed to be smart. In fact, that's sort of how he formulates a lot of his strategies. He doesn't do a lot of that here. Now, okay, let me elaborate. I was okay when they did this in stuff like Batman Begins, because Batman Begins focused on Batman finding the worth of being a hero. Here, though, I'm sorry. It's just, it's really jarring for me. Especially
well, that's a good point to justify why he's actually there. You know, well, why he didn't get on the trip in the first place.
Yeah.
Not all school trips are mandatory, and some are completely optional. But those optional ones,
here we go.
they have limited numbers.
Yeah.
Rodrigo. Yeah, everyone, let's introduce us to our new character, Rodrigo Parker.
Yeah, okay. Here's Emma Stone. I'm a big fan of Emma
that's
Stone,
actually
so
a
really
cool
happy.
reference, actually. Basically, I believe it was Spider-Man 2099 whose first name is Rodriguez.
Rodrigo.
Yeah. All right, Shiroi. So basically, Shiroi, you only knew of Mary Jane from the movies. Basically, in the comics, before he met Mary Jane, Peter actually had another girlfriend, Gwen Stacy, which you're seeing right here.
Yeah,
right
yeah.
You may remember from Spider-Man 3.
It's pretty obvious. Yeah.
Oh, no, but this is from the comics, Shiroi. But believe it, Gwen Stacy was the first girlfriend that Peter had. So basically, they're going for the original storylines before we get to the Green Goblin stuff, basically.
Hey, did anyone
good.
tell you it's rude to peek at folders?
And yeah, like I was saying earlier,
Well,
one of the big things that really killed a lot of emotional scenes for me in the Raimi trilogy was the fact that Toby and Kirsten didn't have a chemistry, whereas I think that these two have much better chemistry in this movie, especially because considering they're actually lovers in real life at this point in time.
hey, sure, a question.
Yep.
What did you think of the romance scenes between Toby and...
It's been a long time she's seen them.
Yep, it's
Joe,
been a
but
long time.
She would have
I
to
saw
see them
those
again.
I saw those in the cinema when they came out, as they came. So
Yeah,
Okay.
so she would need to see them again to make a proper judgment
yeah,
on that.
the third one came out. What is it? A decade
2007.
ago?
2007.
Yeah,
Yeah, a decade ago,
decade.
actually.
I was just wondering what you thought back then, so that we'll be able to compare when we do get to commentating on them.
Sure.
Well,
go ahead,
I was
go
a
ahead.
child, so I just enjoyed the movies.
Yeah, basically, audience, the reason why we're doing these two first and not the Raimi ones, well, I think there's a couple of reasons. One, most people do the Raimi ones first, so we had to be a bit different. And two, well, these ones were the ones that led more directly into Sony eventually making that deal with Marvel.
For a good
And also,
reason.
considering they tell the same story for the most part, like, does it really matter which?
No, not really. And also, I'm going to be quite honest, overall, I feel the Sam Raimi trilogy is better. And this is me speaking objectively. I mean, yeah, I have some personal preferences here and there, but I honestly do feel that the Raimi trilogy as a whole did a better job of actually conveying the Spider-Man story to the silver screen. Nothing against this duology, but again, it's the small issues that are plastered throughout this movie coupled with the
Like I
huge
said
issues
before,
that punch holes into Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Like I said before, I actually do prefer this one over the original Raimi movie. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I'm talking about
But,
comparing the trilogy to the duology.
Oh, but that's just the thing, Joe.
It's very
I honestly find
exciting.
that's just the thing, Joe. But I'll get into detail when we actually comment on that movie. But I am still to this day completely baffled by the absurd. Okay, you keep saying that this movie is overpraised. That's my opinion of Spider-Man 2. I have no idea what make people, especially that god awful ending. That calm down.
I personally don't find that ending that bad, but you'll have time to rant about that later. But yeah, okay. Now here's one of the blatantly stupid acts that Peter does. Yeah, I'm gonna go into a room with genetic spiders. That's not a bad idea whatsoever. And I'm gonna be quite honest, this is even more stupid than the actual origin comic in the 60s. See, in the origin comics, well, actually, sure, you've seen the first Sam Raimi movie, so you know how this goes. A stray spider pretty much lands on his hand and bites him. Here, he goes into a room full of spiders. What do you think's gonna happen?
Yeah.
Maybe he wanted to find out what it's like to have spiders raining down on your head.
Yeah. This is actually a good point that Joe was bringing up. I mean, Peter didn't really have any reason to go into that room. It just felt like he went there because the plot required him to. They could have come up with a better reason for why he got bit. Honestly,
Mark Webb told him to. There you go. Which is funny enough, Joe. That one of the writers of this film, Alvin Sargent, did write the previous ones.
Yeah.
You mean like 1 for free?
Yeah.
Maybe he was trying to differentiate a lot from between the two.
To be fair, this movie does do enough different things to compared to the first Raimi movie. I agree. It's not like it's a blatant knockoff of the Raimi films.
The other two writers are James Vanderbilt and, of all people, Steve Clovis of Harry Potter fame.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I can sense alcohol in my head.
This is to indicate that now with his spider powers, he's able to...
Yeah, there was this joke from The Unusual Suspect that I'll actually love.
And people YouTube that.
Whenever Spider...
to be fair, Jova, it's not like this is the first time we've seen this in a superhero movie.
When Peter was having one of his little fits... a joke that The Unusual Suspect made was him having flashbacks to Spider-Man 3.
Whoopsie!
Yeah. To be fair, there have been plenty of superhero origin stories where you always have this one moment where the character is figuring out, and there are a couple of people who actually do. And yes, that is kind of a weird thing where, for some reason, apparently there's not the people who did originally see him do things before he got in a suit. That must have been that guy I saw in the thing, but again, this is sadly some weird quirk that a lot of superhero stories have for some reason.
Well, now, if there's one thing I'm gonna give to Spider-Man 2, though, it at least made sense though, because that was a scene showing that they wouldn't reveal a secret identity.
And also, I'll be fair here. New York's full of people. They'll probably just forgot about. They won't be able to pick him out of the crowd.
Not with you.
At least not yet.
Not with you two, Dibs. Trust me on that.
But did you see anyone recording with a phone?
Yeah, that is a weird.
I think someone tried to, that one particular person who was rummaging in. That one person who was rummaging into their pocket.
Oh, look! He snagged
yes, the speed of an insect.
Okay.
Literally. And caught an insect
without even crushing it. Don't eat it.
Don't
eat it.
Don't
eat it.
Don't eat it.
Oh, for God's sakes. Okay.
He chucked it away.
Yeah. But you saw him licking his lips at that, Dwibs. Yeah, I'm gonna be quite honest.
Flies.
Yeah, I'm gonna be quite honest. That was Catwoman levels of stupid just for that one bit.
No, I thought that would have been quite funny if he did actually.
No, here's one thing I don't get though. Now he has a craving for food in general. Like, I don't get that. That's not really.
My guess.
Do spiders crave food that much? Like, I don't.
My guess is, Jova. Here's how I take it. My guess.
I'm not saying that it's a problem here. I'm just saying it's a weird thing. Go on.
Sure. My guess. Well, might as well anyway. My guess is maybe after what happened, he's nervous, or maybe of course his body is still getting used to the changes. So I'm guessing his body is reacting with hunger or something.
I guess that's a good point. Although, yeah, that's kind of a weird way to react to your ward or, nephew just doing all that.
Yeah. Actually, it's a good thing. Okay. Just so I make sure that how I actually don't hate the first movie or anything like that. I actually really like it on an ironic way, but I still like it. But one thing that the Raimi movie did, the first Raimi movie did better, is Peter's reaction actually.
Not just his reaction, but his aunts and uncles. But yeah.
One of the funniest moments in the first Raimi movie is when he finds out that now all of a sudden he has muscles, and is like, "How are you today? Are you better? Yes, I'm much better."
Yeah.
I do remember that particular scene.
I got
Yeah,
a six-pack.
Yeah.
That's a really good scene. And
I'm
it,
pretty sure if any bloke like just suddenly found out they had a six-pack, I'm sure any bloke would be over the moon at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I've got...
Yeah. Not only
Oh,
that,
wait,
but I
there
also
is
prefer
another-
how the.
Okay, that's funny.
Yeah.
There's another. I think there's another tidbit I should mention. Laura Ziskin, who produced this movie and indeed the previous three, this was the last one she did. Because she passed away the year it came out.
Yeah.
Sadly.
I'm also gonna say this though: the way that the aunt and uncle responded to his changes was a lot more fluid and actual, Okay, let's just say I bought it more in the Sam Raimi movie than I did here. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, will they eventually react? But come on, he broke the sink and everything.
He's
Well,
just
Jacob-
going through extreme puberty, guys.
Well, Job, if I can give credit to this film over the other one, the other first movie. I mean, throughout Uncle Ben's screen time in the first Raimi film, he wasn't really doing much of anything except, just doing typical uncle, embarrassing uncle-y stuff and going on about falling on his ass. So then him all of a sudden trying to do that big speech towards him just seemed a bit off.
I thought it was fine and well earned enough, honestly. Different structure, different folks. But here, though, I
actually really like again, like Jova said, one of the great things about it is how he keeps doing now. From now on, he's going to change how he behaves at school, and eventually, Uncle Ben is going to be the uncle that he should be, and lecture him on it. And that's where the speech comes from. That's where the responsibility.
Nope.
So it makes sense for Uncle Ben to come with the responsibility speech for the fact that he's now misbehaving at school, obviously.
And
No,
here's the
I
problem.
got
and
it,
here's
I
the
got it,
problem.
guys.
Let me
I got it,
finish,
guys.
Strips.
No.
And here, let me finish, Strips. Here's the problem. We never really get that speech in this movie.
Oh, actually, we do. It's not like as blatant as the other one, but it's still there. You'll see. Hold on.
Anyway, guys, I got it. Note to self: get web-proof keyboards.
Yeah.
Which is funny because Andrew Garfield is basically Andrew Garfield's half American, half British. So yeah, it's funny. The first one, Tobey Maguire was all American, and this one we got a half Brit, half American, and now Tom Holland is full-on British. So
So Andrew was the bridge.
yeah, it was the bridge between two countries.
Oh, wouldn't you know? He happens to know Peter through his parents. Well, that's nice to know.
It's a bit. I will say it's a bit disappointing that like when Bond rebooted, they still kept Judi Dench.
Yeah, the guy from the
I
past.
can imagine it would be a bit disappointing to the guy who played Connors in the original films that he didn't get to be the Lizard.
Yeah, I'm gonna be quite honest. That guy there played a pretty good Kirk Connors throughout the three movies, and yeah, the guy. Well, okay, I think it was the last.
He had barely a role in it, but the thing is, Jova,
he was in
by
the
this
second.
point,
And,
wasn't he
hold
already
on, let me finish.
Go ahead.
He was in the second and third ones, and he had decent enough for a side character, but yeah, he was looking forward to playing it in the fourth movie. But again, Sony FX hit, and, well, that was that. I feel sorry for the guy. Now, this guy plays a fair enough Kirk Connors. Yeah, he's nice.
One of the things I do enjoy about this movie, in comparison to the first one, is that it did what I think the first Sam Raimi movie should have done in terms of tone, which is try to have a more balanced tone rather than just being full on campy.
It wasn't full-on campy, though. I mean, again, that's different structure, different folks. I mean, it depends on how you took it back then. Because, honestly, I feel that it had its fair share of serious moments, unlike Batman and Robin,
that's just the thing, Joe.
Cam.
It's kind of hard for me to feel the serious moments when the Green Goblin looks like a fucking Power Rangers villain.
Okay, yep, that's definitely personal preference.
Especially considering the actual real Green Goblin's design from the comics, it looks so cool. I have no idea what the hell they were thinking when they come up with that design.
Well, I like that design, and I feel it does have its creepy moments. However, I do agree. I do see where you're coming from. That his original one could have been done creepier. Agreed.
Yeah.
I don't know what his original design is, so when I
hold
saw
on,
it in the
hold on,
Hold
original...
on, hold on,
Okay,
hold on. Let
When I
Shirai
saw it in
finish.
the original... When I saw it in... No, it's okay, he can get the thing. When I saw it in the original movie, I thought it was just your typical cheesy costume that you see in some comic books.
It is, I mean, to an
I didn't
extent.
think anything different.
Yeah.
All right, Shirai. Here's an example of what the Green Goblin's face is supposed to look like.
Okay.
I'll get a better screenshot of the full body because I haven't found
And
one.
please, Peter, don't steal another badge. I had to spend a lot of money trying to compensate the guy who got thrown out.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That isn't what I remember in that movie.
Oh, no. It's quite
In the-
different. Again,
The Raimi movie went for a Power Rangers thing for some
Yeah.
reason.
yeah, that's a joke people go for. I mean, honestly, I still like it. A lot of people like it. It's something that, honestly, you either like or you don't like. And, honestly, as far as superhero movies go, I'm fine with it. And trust me, it's way better than what they try to do for the Green Goblin in Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Oh no, definitely. Don't worry, I'll agree with you on that. No, everything about the Green Goblin in the sequel to this movie is fucking ugh.
Okay, and I'm gonna be quite honest. Well, actually, no. I'll bring that up later.
And
Anyway,
now
we're
we're in
about
the
to get-
basketball scene.
Okay, yeah, again, here's another thing. Now, in the original Raimi movie, a lot of the times when he was developing his powers, yeah, he did a bit of weird stuff in public, but most of the stuff he figured out was, done away from most people. Here, though, pretty much the entirety of his power set is shown here, which makes you wonder why no one's ever able to put two and two together after he becomes a superhero.
Like I said, to be fair, Joe, but there's a lot of superhero stories that have this stupid flaw, and at this point, it's just part of the game, I guess.
Yeah, but bringing it back in 2012 when a lot of movies kind of stopped doing it, though.
True.
That's
Yeah,
jarring.
I guess you do have a point there.
Didn't future
My
movies
guess
do
is
this?
my guess it's because it's again the same writer from the original trilogy, so I'm guessing he was still thinking in that old school mentality.
Oh boy, here's another one of those scenes. Okay, now in the Raimi movie, Peter got a bit cocky, but he didn't outright antagonize Flash. Here, though, some
Well,
of
be
them
fair,
hey.
Joe. The Flash did beat the shit out of him. Yeah.
Not just that, Jova, but here's the thing. Honestly, Jova, any teenager who suddenly gained the ability to finally give some payback to his bully, he would do this.
Oh, yeah.
I would. I mean, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
I get
You're probably gonna say you wouldn't, but
Hold on,
honestly,
no,
Jova,
no. I wasn't gonna say I wouldn't. I mean, okay. Look, again, I don't mind him getting back at Flash. It's just it's to the level of which he goes back to Flash without any restraint. Like again, Peter ended up giving Flash his comeuppance as well in the Raimi original, but he did it with a sense of restraint at least, and it was done in a way where you could still sympathize with him.
Restrained. He punched him all the way to. He punched him like halfway across the hall.
yeah. Peter didn't punch him in this one.
I know some people might find it immoral, but if I had the chance to get back at all the people who bullied me when I was in school, I'd jump right
And
on
besides,
that shit.
Oh, I
Joe,
definitely, definitely see
it's
that.
not
What
like-
I'm saying is like, well,
It's not
here
like
though,
this
he,
movie's. It's not like this movie's like. It's not like this movie's ignoring the. Ignoring that.
Who said
Yeah,
it?
I mean, I fail to see how what he just did to Flash Thompson was all that much worse than what he did in the. He
May
broke
I-
some glass. He didn't punch him or anything. Go ahead.
If I may, look, okay, yeah, he punched Flash in the original one, but that was out of self-defense about what Flash was doing. Here, he's deliberately showing off. Now, okay, I can, get him showing off his cool tricks and stuff, but doing it so powerful to the point of shattering the thing. Now, look, I could get it if he didn't know that he was that strong, but he does know it's that strong. So if he really doesn't want to get, looked into, okay, I can get, maybe dodging around Flash, doing all that stuff. But dude, don't intentionally try and do that stuff if you're trying to not draw that much attention to yourself.
True.
He wouldn't
Yeah.
get investigated for smashing something though. He'd just get charged with property damage or some shit.
Well,
You
here's
know,
the
he got pulled up in front of the principal.
Yeah, exactly, though. That's the thing. See, in the Raimi movie, it made sense that, yeah, okay, he did it by accident because he didn't know his strength then. Here, he does know his strength, though, and that does kind of give a sense that anyone who knows the destruction they're gonna do kind of feels more like a villain. However, before anyone jumps on me, that doesn't ruin the movie because, to be fair, even in the original comic, he would have been a villain if it hadn't been for what happens later.
True.
So
yeah.
I will say that. I will say, though, it is a bit jarring for them to go back to that, though. It's sort of like, well, how you kind of found the Raimi trilogy a bit jarring for, doing some of that 60s stuff. That's sort of what it's like for me. Again, I mean, it's a problem, but thankfully one that does not ruin the direction of this movie.
Basically,
God,
Shiro,
we've
as
had
you
to
can see in
explain
that
ourselves a
other
lot.
photo there, the Green Goblin is basically supposed to look exactly like a natural goblin, an evil-looking goblin. And personally, I was kind of disappointed when they have this awesome, cool design that look really creepy and at the same time really funny, and they went with that one. That's basically the point that I was trying to make.
As for me, I actually liked the look of that goblin because I thought he looked cool and high-tech and stuff, and I did actually find the face, when it's all doing a close-up thing, actually rather frightening, especially during that scene where he kind of threatens Aunt May.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, Peter Parker's pro skater.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm appreciating the fact that they're not going with the nerds can't do sports stereotype.
Yeah. Wait, hold on. When was that a thing since the 90s?
I don't know. I've seen a couple movies, even back in the 2000s, that did it.
Well, I mean, movies that are actually worth mentioning,
Oh, by the way, guys.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, Jova, but I'm pretty sure Peter Parker didn't do any sports in the first Raimi movie.
Have any of you seen 500 Days of Summer, the film Mark Webb did before this?
I did. It's a great movie. That's the sad part. Mark Webb is great at making small, intimate, character-driven dramas. So I have no idea what the hell they were thinking when they cast him as the director for this.
Oh, come on. I mean, this movie isn't bad. In fact, I dare say it's still good.
No. Despite some iffy special effects, I think this movie is actually well directed. It's just that I don't think he was the best choice.
Well, I mean,
Paige,
it's not like...
That's been kind of... That's been the thing for quite a few years now. They get directors who've made like one small budget film.
Oh, wait, hold on.
And then they give
Hold
them a
on,
big
guys.
budget
This is an
blockbuster.
important plot detail.
Yeah, hold on.
We
This
call
total-
the cloud Galactus.
This totally is not a biological weapon of any caliber whatsoever. Good old Marvel Universe, constantly blaming heroes for being supposedly villains, yet the actual villains are pretty much under their noses.
Fortunately, the MCU avoided that thing, at least up until this point.
What about Iron Man 2?
But that's Iron Man 2. We usually don't like talking about Iron Man 2.
Alright. So basically, sure, Kirk Connors is fascinated with lizards being able to regrow their limbs. Basically, Kirk Connors lost his arm in a war. It depends. It's either World War II or Korean War. Take your pick.
Basically, Shiroi, you can just watch Iron Man 1 and 3. Don't even... You can pretty much skip the second one, trust me.
Well, Pedro...
Skip 2, you mean?
Well, Pedro, she's gonna have to watch 2 when we do our eventual commentary.
Oh, no. Well, yeah, it's gonna be inevitable. I'm just saying that from a casual movie perspective, you can just skip the second one, trust me.
Ugh. And
Really found the right one.
Also, you may notice that, yes, these effects look similar to the computer effects from Iron Man in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Well, that's because, believe it or not, Shiroi, this movie was originally supposed to take place in the MCU.
Well, didn't ILM do this effects for both movies?
No. Sony ImageWorks did this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now allow me to
When was the MCU fully established?
2008.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now allow me to explain, Shiroi. See, originally Spider-Man was supposed to be in the MCU, and it was going to be established in, I think, the Avengers movie, where they would have the Oscorp Tower in New York. However,
But they couldn't complete the effect in time.
Yeah, so
you really have to get around to watching the first Iron Man movie, sure, because I'm 100% sure that you're going to love Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark. He is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. I think this is a big argument now.
Yeah, here you go. This is where the responsibility speech comes from. Because he broke the thing, yeah.
Sorry, the script told me to forget.
Spoilers, no he's not.
Second movie, Jova, second movie.
No, I'm just saying, spoilers, no he's not. I don't even have any regrets spoiling that.
Hold on. There you go.
The line is with great power.
He doesn't flat out say the with great power comes great responsibility line. He doesn't actually say that line, but the actual message is still here.
I'll admit, though, it is a bit jarring he didn't say it because that's practically a catchphrase. But what you gonna do?
My guess is they wanted to be a bit less obvious with this one.
And that's that.
And just like any teenage, and to be fair, just like any teenager, he kind of freaks out. Again, aside from the breaking.
Okay. Now it's parts like that really kind of make me cringe because seriously, okay, I could get him leaving and slamming the door, but slamming the door and noticing that he smashed it, I'm sorry, no. I mean, come on, Peter. You're not that much of a dick yet.
So Joby, you're saying he's a dick because he looks at glass breaking.
No, I mean, he doesn't even try to... Hold on, let me finish. He doesn't even try to really... Okay, seriously, though, the fact that he just leaves knowing that he smashed the glass, though, in the presence of them... I mean, come on. I mean, well, this Peter, the way they're characterizing him, he would at least, try and make things up with them if it got to the point of that. Again, it's the little things that come together that kind of make a bit of a weird error.
I don't know. It's just glass shattering.
Not just that, but the thing is, I still think this can probably be attributed to the fact that he's still figuring things out. He's still not completely used to things. That's how I take it, at least.
Yeah, I should probably just sum this up overall. I feel that the Raimi trilogy definitely handled the transition from him being Peter to Spider-Man better.
Well, honestly, though, I think Peter is slightly less of a dick to Ben in this one than he was in the first Raimi movie.
How so?
Yeah, to be fair, I didn't like how that moment where Peter literally says, "Then stop trying to be my father." That was a bit out of character for him, honestly.
Well, that was also a teenage anger moment. I mean, plenty of people will say that. I mean,
True,
I mean,
I guess, but at the I guess, sure.
Oh, also,
it's like you said multiple times, Joe. But different strokes, different folks.
But I will say this though: the death of you-know-who is kind of rushed here compared to how it was the original. Well, in the Sam Raimi one. Yeah, like, seriously? Oh. And there you go.
And there you go.
Well, look at the bright side, Joe. You wouldn't have to see Uncle Ben die in Homecoming.
Well, no, it's just like,
Maybe in like a little flashback or something, but that's about it.
Yeah, I mean... Well, it's just, I'm sorry, Mick, well, okay, I get it, they're making a new origin tale, but compared to the Raimi trilogy, this one feels a bit misplaced. I mean, okay, I get it. Uncle Ben's going after him, but then the way he dies is just, he tried going for the gun instead of trying to go get help. That kind of shoots Uncle Ben's hole with great power comes great responsibility. Hold on, let me finish.
I guess the guy probably would have shot him if he'd tried to run away anyway.
Not really, actually. The guy was trying to get away. I mean, he wouldn't want to try and go for collateral.
It's not just that. Actually, hold on. I get what Joe was saying. It's one of those things where he thinks Ben could have acted a bit smarter on that. But I have two things to say about that, Joe. One, To be fair, it wasn't the heat of the moment, so he could have just, he just improvised in the heat of the moment. And second, one thing that I didn't like about the Raimi movies, Uncle Ben
Hey,
literally
Joe,
died
I'm just gonna stop you
off-screen.
right there. You kind of got wrong what I was saying, if that's what you're thinking.
Go ahead.
No, what I was saying is, like, it shoots his whole "with great power comes great responsibility" moment thing in the ideal, seeing as how well. Yeah, I mean, okay, see, Uncle Ben dies originally in the Raimi trilogies because, he's trying to do the responsible thing. Whereas here, again, like you said, it's just heat of the moment, not so much responsibility. So, again, it kind of undermines the whole "with great power comes great responsibility" thing. Especially since, well, see, okay, in the original plot, it was because Peter was too late coming out for Uncle Ben, who was waiting for him back at the library where he thought he would be. So, of course, Peter felt it was his fault. Here, though, the chance is way more random, so it doesn't make as much sense that Peter would feel responsible for his death. Because New York City is a big freaking city. So, yeah.
Right, I actually do like this bit coming up with Peter and Flash.
I can see what you mean, Joe,
like
but at the same time, I still think people react emotionally, even including in terms of morals, even in the heat of the moment and stuff like that. But sure, go ahead.
Well, gee, this is a new side that we never saw hinted at. Yeah, okay, as you can probably tell, folks, this is taken from the Ultimate Universe a bit. However, in the Ultimate Universe comics, we actually saw the slight improvement of Flash over time, whereas here, just comes out of nowhere. Bit of a pet peeve.
I gotta say, Joe, for a guy who says he thinks this film is just okay, you've been doing an awful lot of
Well,
your negativity count is quite high. For you.
Dwebs and Shiroi, may I remind you, you two were the guys who spent all day lambasting a film that you still enjoy yesterday with Series of Unfortunate Events. Again, you know how this goes, guys. You can like something but still make fun of it.
You're not making fun of it.
You're making fun of it. You're actually pointing out complaints, whether they're actually legit ones or ones that I won't say they're not legit, but they're ones that I can at least attempt to defend.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you were doing with Series of Unfortunate Events yesterday, too. I mean, again, Dwibs, you can criticize something, but still like it overall.
Well, from your tone so far, Joe, it's not like you don't like it.
Don't worry. Joe, I'm pretty sure. No, don't worry. I'm sure Joe still enjoys the movie fine. It's just that he has a little pet peeves that he doesn't like.
Well, it's also that, and well, let's just say, when you really, really love this movie, but then you look at it a second time, you do notice issues that you didn't notice before.
Well, it's like every movie ever, pretty much.
Well, I mean, again, Dwibs, I mean, you and Shiroi were doing the same thing yesterday.
Except for Terminator 2. Terminator 2 doesn't have flaws, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. I mean, again, Dwibs, it's just like how it was with you and Shiroi, only the reverse this time.
Anyway,
get him!
Oh, down you go.
It's like that bit in LA Noire, Joe. If you get too close to him, he'll kick you in the face.
Yeah.
Who got the list? Oh, sorry, wrong Sony movie.
Oh no, he doesn't have a tattoo. Never mind the fact that they didn't specify whether or not it's actually a permanent tattoo.
Sorry to leave you hanging there. Oh.
Well,
Oops. How dark was it, by the way?
And now Andrew Garfield will be starring in the next Creed film.
I actually love that. You know, Andrew Garfield fighting Michael B. Jordan.
And this is where he gets the inspiration for the costume. Okay.
Luchador mask.
Sure, why not?
It's
one of my lesser pet peeves.
That's how it's always been. There's always been some kind of wrestling thing involved.
Yeah, there has. That's why I just said,
I mean, there was the wrestling thing in the other first
Yeah,
movie.
yeah.
Well, yeah, it's just like, oh, they actually did the wrestling in the first one.
So yeah, and basically Shiro, he's looking for Uncle Ben's killer, and he knows that the killer has I think it's a sun mark on his arm.
Oh boy, here we go. The actual making of the web slingers. Oh boy.
Okay, let me explain this to Shiro.
Hold
okay,
on.
Shiro-
Shouldn't I be the one to explain since I'm the one leading the commentary?
Sure, go ahead.
Basically, Shuri, in the original continuity, Peter made web slingers. In the Raimi trilogy, he sort of got the powers to actually shoot
He kind
webs.
of shot them already.
And don't worry, Shuri, the comics have paid homage to both of these because at some point he actually did get spider powers to be able to shoot web
honestly,
slings.
even if I was in his position and made those things, I would start small, not go to the top building and attempt that straight away.
Yeah. Montage.
Well, he
It's
did
like,
that in the other film.
if it goes wrong, you're
Well,
fucked.
actually, Dwibs, the building he started off in the Raimi trilogy was way, way, way shorter than this one.
It was still pretty high up, and it
I
still
mean,
could have killed him if he'd have fucked up.
Jump off a shed roof or something.
Yeah, sorry, Dwibs, it was not nearly that tall.
And there you go.
And nobody sees that? Yeah, I'm sorry, not in New York City, pal.
I bet
We're talking about
people
German. This is like the 5 minutes of New York City where no one is in the streets.
Yeah.
Oh, I get it. So it's like the entirety of that British movie, The Avengers.
Yeah, well, fortunately, Mark Webber's a bit more competent than whoever directed that other one.
Now,
Yeah.
here's a bit of a weird thing. I'm not even quite sure if I can call this bad or good, but it's weird. Yeah, okay, see, now in the original continuity and in the Raimi trilogy, yeah, he eventually finds his Uncle Ben's killer, and he knows for a fact that the guy who shot Uncle Ben is, well, the man who he let go. Whereas here, yeah, it's a bit weird how he's just going after people who supposedly look like the guy in the store who he doesn't even know for sure. Oh, hi, Dennis Leary.
Ah,
You
Dennis
may remember
Leary,
him
who-
from Ice Age.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Larry pretty much looks exactly like Captain Stacy looks like in the Ultimate Comics.
Now people are filming.
Now they're taking photos
Yeah.
with Sony phones.
Of course. Anyway, oh, trust me, dudes, this is nothing compared to Krispy Kreme.
But,
Yeah, you saw that film today, didn't you?
Yeah, I'll talk about it later. I actually enjoyed it, believe it or not. In fact, Linkara also really enjoyed
guys,
it, and Brad as well.
guys, Sony tablet and Sony laptop.
Well,
come on.
It's a Sony movie at this point.
Exactly,
You come to
Pedro.
expect that at this point.
Pedro. Like you said in our Gem and the Holograms movie commentary, point out the Sony ones because, well, that's just how it is. Also, this scene is pretty awesome where we see first-person view of him web-slinging.
Yeah. Oh, it's gonna, and the web slinging is gonna be used to even better effect later on in the climax.
Now, I'll admit, here's a criticism I didn't have, but a lot of people had. Apparently, a lot of people are controversial about the suit in this movie because the
Why?
sneakers. Because
Actually, this is one where I will give some people, even though the suit is fine, I do like the suit in the sequel better.
I actually do like the sneaker look, but yeah, that's a problem a lot of people have.
Yeah, I like the one in Amazing Spider-Man 2 better as well.
Oh,
here's the scene.
Okay, I'm gonna admit this
promote the movie back when it was first coming out.
Now here's a problem. Now the joke that leads up to this would be pretty funny if it weren't for the fact that they kind of spammed it across media a lot. And also, I'm gonna be quite honest, this Spider-Man cracks way less jokes than Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man.
Really?
Yeah,
I
really.
disagree. I think especially in the sequel, he cracks them practically all the time.
Well, in the sequel, yes, but in this movie, not that much.
All right,
Hold on.
Peter. Now you're just getting creepy.
Hold on.
Ow.
Hey, Joe, have you seen any cops in New York wear red and blue?
Yeah, actually. But not over their entire body like that.
And he's now Batman.
It's funny you mention that because of the Amazing Spider-Man movie and Teabag.
I love this joke. No, not knives.
Wait, hold on.
Not the knife.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I'll admit that joke's funny. Although they really didn't need to spam it across media a lot. But, yeah, other than that, there's not that many wisecracks on Spidey in this movie. No, actually, it is funny.
Yeah.
And then he
The
goes all...
guy with dreadlocks.
Okay, now here's weird. He starts off funny, but then goes all serious.
My guess is
Shift.
he's done. My guess is he's done shitting around. At first, he was just joking with him as kind of a semi-torture.
Well, to be fair, I mean, if you're gonna go after Spider-Man 3 for the tone shifts, you can't let that go just like that.
I love this. I love this bit too. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why he wears a mask, you dolts. Yeah, he did all that hard work.
Anyway, the point is,
NYPD is ungrateful as shit.
Well, welcome to the Marvel Universe, Dribs.
Okay, I think coming up is a
isn't it the bridge scene now?
What about the bridge scene?
Well, particularly the first time we actually well, not in first person, properly see Spidey swing.
Not just that, but there's some questionable special effects in the bridge scene, as we're going to see in a moment. Not that they're terrible or anything. It's just that you can tell this.
Everyone used to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I said, Mark Webb is actually a really good director. It's just that he wasn't the right pick for this.
Well, honestly, I mean, well, I'd say that in regards to starting off a series, he was fine enough. I mean, it's weird. I mean, yeah. Despite me being the one who critiques this movie a lot more, I actually still feel that it was a good start to the franchise. Oh.
Yeah, 38 versus one guy in a unitard, and he couldn't take him down.
Yeah. Again, though,
doesn't that really just show how much the police things up?
Sure, it's movie. There's a difference between real police and movie police. Oh yeah, here's another example of how Sally Field is awesome in these movies.
Yeah. I personally don't care for how Peter is constantly running out on his promises with her here, but yeah, the way she deals with it is pretty awesome.
And to be fair, Peter does get better in terms of obeying her and getting along with her.
Oh yeah. However, yeah, I'm gonna admit I'm a bit disappointed how they never really do come to a resolution on the fact that she just accepts the fact that he comes getting beaten up by the end. But yeah, here she's actually calling it out.
Yeah, so secrets that caused this series to go to partly Marvel in the first place.
Okay, I'm curious, which secrets are you referring to? Because there are so many.
I was making a joke about the Sony leaks, Jova. You know, Sony have those. It was revealed that Sony were making deals with Marvel.
Wait, that got leaked?
Yeah. I was part
I know.
Of the leaks.
I know that the Amazing Spider-Man 3 script got leaked, and what a glorious leak that was.
remember, no, Jova. What I was saying was, part of what was leaked out was conversations the Sony heads were having with Marvel Studios.
Oh, didn't that also mention how Andrew Garfield kind of insulted Yoshida-san?
Yeah, I mean, that was a pretty dumb move on Garfield's part. If you want to keep your job, you're not supposed to criticize your bosses.
All just because they don't want to go with your view of how Peter Parker should be.
Pierce Brosnan made that mistake when he was Bond, and look what happened there.
Anyway.
Well, I mean, that kind of thing shouldn't have been leaked anyway, and also everyone bitches about their boss.
Well, Shiroi, see, here's
just saying.
Shiroi, let's just say he took it too far. I mean, Okay, I'm not gonna say he took it JonTron levels of too far, but
I'll take
he
your
took it
word
too
for
far. Anyway,
I'll
By the way,
take your word for it.
By the way, Joe,
anyway,
sorry.
about this scene. Basically, Kirk Connors is about to have his funding get cut because the evil Oscorp, by the way, we won't be seeing any of Osborn in this movie, but the evil Oscorp wants to use his medical research for evil.
To be fair, Joe, but when has Oscorp never been evil?
Oh, no. I agree. It's just like, well, I'll admit, this movie actually tries to run with that a bit too seriously. Okay. I will say this about this in both Amazing Spider-Man 2. Whereas the Raimi trilogy could be taken as too cartoony at times, these movies sometimes took themselves a bit too seriously at times, too. Not so much
far,
here.
I think it's fine.
Not so much here, but with Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Jesus Christ, poor Kurt Collins, he gets like every single thing a boss can tell you negatively told to him.
Oh, you'd be
know,
surprised,
right?
Joe.
You're fired. You're fired. Clean your desk. By the way, you can't have your toys. Bye.
Oh, also, your funding's
You'd be
being
surprised
cut, and
how
we're taking away your mouse, too.
You'd be surprised, Joe, of how harsh bosses can be at times. Anyway, what I was gonna say is, first of all, Joe, a little question for you in the chat, please. And second, okay. Okay. In fact, I don't think I've mentioned this.
That might be doable. Maybe.
Let's listen here.
Gwen, that's the name of the bell tower.
Whoopsie. Aw, she miswrites when she's nervous.
Yeah, that's one thing that also, if you don't mind, I would like to say this as well. Another problem I had with the here's one of the problem I have with the conversations between Mary and Peter in the first Raimi trilogy.
Oh, look at that, guys!
first
Look at
movie.
that, guys!
Go ahead.
It's symbolic. His hand, it needs to be there, but it's only there in the reflection. Oh, yeah. We should probably wait, actually. This is kind of an important scene.
Go ahead.
Basically, Shiroi, Kirk Connors has decided, you know what, screw what the evil corporation says. I'm going to test this on myself so that they don't have to test it on some poor innocent soul. See,
I'm fine anyway. What's the worst that can happen?
See, basically, Shiroi, they're going to use his research and use it on some poor innocent soul to test it on. So Kirk Connors is actually trying to do good by testing it on himself to show that, hey, you don't have to use some poor sap to test it on. Granted. Granted, it's not the most rational battle thought, but then again, the guy did just practically get everything worse handed to him. Yeah, go on.
Can't you use the front door like a normal person?
We're quirky like that. Anyway, well, to be fair, Shuri, also to be fair, it is New York City. Anyway, go on.
What, do you all go home through your windows?
Sometimes. You'd be surprised. It's actually kind of fun.
One thing that I really like about I really like this idea of Peter coming in through Gwen Stacy's window. It's classic romantic Hollywood. I like that.
It is. Oh my God, you just realized...
It wasn't a complaint. It was just another observation.
Oh my God, Pedro. Couple that get together by casting. The male comes in through unorthodox ways. This is like Twilight, but done good.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of that, one of the problems I had... Okay, actually, I want you guys to listen here.
Uh-oh. You don't want... That's not a good impression because her father is... Surprise! The police captain!
Oh, goody.
Yeah, I swear to God, the sitcom music was playing in my head when I saw this. Although, to be fair, that is sort of how it was in the comics, too.
Yeah.
Ew.
Well, she did only tell him, like, that we're going for dinner. She didn't tell him how to dress.
So yeah, Shira, as I can probably guess, he's gonna try experimenting on himself. Anyway, the thing is, one of the things that I really love about what? Oh, here we go. There's the
And is it working?
We're doing little cuts because we're even though this film cost $230 million, we're not that.
And surprise, he has a new hand.
Again, comic book science, just roll with it.
Could someone please give me a hand?
Don't you? Now here's the weird thing, though. See,
I've got my hands full.
now here's the thing, Shirai. See, the way he was able to complete his research was because Peter gave him some of his DNA. That's right, Shirai. Spider-infected DNA plus science gives you... Well, actually, I'll elaborate later when you get to see.
Anyway, like I was saying, like for example, to give you an idea, like one of the things that I
Pedro, you might want to wait for a scene where, the couple are together.
Sure.
Actually, since,
Sure.
we are about to get an action scene. Again, nothing against, just wait for, a relevant romance scene.
Sure.
Uh-oh.
He's working, man.
Yes, I'm gonna just ignore your reptilian-looking face there, man. Ugh, fish.
Well, to be fair, again, I don't know the origin of this joke. I'm just quoting what movies tell me. Well,
Do you
isn't
not
this
like
the kind
fish,
of
Joker?
isn't this the kind of people you would find in Central Park?
Anyway,
Anyway,
now we're in a thingy scene. What are you going to say, Pedro?
Okay. One of the things one of the problems I had with the first Raimi movie was that the conversations between Peter and Mary Jane were
Forced.
really bad. Not just forced, badly written in general. Like for example, like
I felt that they were
okay,
written... Okay, actually, go on. Sorry.
like for example, the whole I don't. And I hate to be obvious.
Oh,
about
wait,
this.
wait. I think I get what you're going for. See, here's the thing. Even I'll admit this, for the first two movies, they were written deliberately as that couple who can't be together because one wants to be a superhero and he feels that he can't do that to endanger her. And I will admit, that made me cringe even back in the first movie. Is that what you're going for? It's like, well, they're... Okay.
Surprisingly, no.
Hold on, wait. Let me finish.
Somebody let someone finish.
Yeah,
like, so
Pedro,
everyone
I know,
actually
right?
understands the
First,
point.
you go first,
Oh,
Pedro.
Jova, let Pedro speak.
Everyone needs to let everyone finish what they're saying. If this commentary is anything to go off of, go on, Pedro.
No. Go ahead, Jova. Go ahead.
Okay. I get that what you mean is like, well, the fact that they were written to be that couple is what kind of forced a lot of their dialogue to be the way it was. And in turn, she had to be kind of a selfish brat at times when he actually did try to open up to her, and then he had to be kind of an idiot when she opened up to him.
All right, you done?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll talk more about it later, but go on.
Surprisingly, Jova, that only became a problem to me in the second movie's ending. But again, I'll bring it up later when we get to that.
Well, we've already seen it, so we know what's up with it. I mean, even Doug pointed that out.
I'll just say this, Shiroi. Back when the second movie was acclaimed as the second coming of Jesus, and I saw people clapping at the ending and shit like that. It's literally one of those moments where I literally turn back at the audience and go, "Really? Really?"
Okay, I will say I do see where they're coming from. I'm not going to say like, oh, it's completely registered, but I do see where they're coming from in it. However,
Quick question: what was he arguing with her dad about?
About Spider-Man. Don't you see, Sheree, the irony being that her father wants to hunt down Spider-Man?
If there is, okay, I think I know it's in this movie, but I'm not quite sure if it's this scene or if it's later on. One thing that I do like is that they don't just rehash the same thing from the Raimi films where Peter hides from his love interest that he's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I like that as well. I like that as well.
I agree. And I will say this, I do feel that Peter Parker and Mary Jane, except for that one scene, were actually a well enough couple in Spider-Man 3, when they're a couple, mind you. Now, okay, aside from that stupid scene where she has to fake break up with him, I do feel
Thank
like,
you.
I was just about to ask if it was that scene, because that was so...
Yeah.
Even to me back then.
Don't worry, guys. I'm not going to defend that scene, but I do feel that, okay, yeah. I mean, like, it's like how Doug said that, yeah, okay, he spends most of his time having to rescue her, except for the movie where they're actually a couple. It's like, I do feel like, when they finally are a couple, they do seem nice and compatible enough. I mean, like, they have their problems, they have their quirks, but in the end, they come back together. Even in the end of that movie. Again, I will say the one thing I do have a problem with is the one thing everyone hates. That gosh darn scene where she has to fake break up with him. Seriously, lady, there are so many ways you could do that. But that's a rant for another day, and ooh. Whoa, I knew the lights of New York were a turn-on, but... Who? Okay, yeah, I won't say this is a bad thing, but, maybe a bit more build-up between these two to this would have been a bit better.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know. I think they still have more chemistry than...
Oh, no, wait. I'm not saying that they have less chemistry, I'm just saying, that kind of came out of nowhere, them just,
Well, to be fair, that was just a spontaneous kiss. It's not like they're together now.
Right. So, I kid though.
I mean officially.
I kid. Don't worry.
Sure.
It's just a funny thing.
Well, I can speak for others, but sometimes you will have a spontaneous kiss even when you're not expecting or even trying to have one.
Yeah, it's just like, well, they went above and beyond with that kiss. But again, though, that's just something I joke about rather than hate.
You know one thing I'm looking forward to seeing in Homecoming?
What?
Well, I think this is the first time in a while that two major movie studios collaborate on a big budget movie, especially a superhero one.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see which one has more pull over the other, or if they can get along.
Well,
is that just
about seeing whether the movie's more good than bad? Because honestly, I'm not quite sure how you could really distinguish Sony's take from Marvel's take, aside from maybe bouts of quality. Because let's be quite honest, if we're going by quality, Sony just... Even with the Raimi trilogy, which I actually do really like, there have been quite a few issues because of Sony executive meddling.
Not just that, but considering the track record Marvel has, again, where I generally only think that Marvel has only made 2 bad movies. Consider their track record, unlike Sony, who has mostly a bad track record nowadays. I'm pretty sure Marvel's movie is going to be much better.
You know, I'm starting to worry that this movie commentary may be a bit too much of us just trying to compare this to the original.
But isn't that the point?
Well,
it's a remake. Well, okay, it's a reboot made by mostly the same production team, so it is kind of warranted,
I guess.
And it's telling the same story, so
I guess.
Well, to be fair, not entirely the same story. It does enough things differently with it, I think.
I guess I just don't want our audience getting the idea that, oh, it has to be one or the other with us. I mean, well, I think we could agree that, we still like both takes to an extent.
Well, I do prefer this, and I think this one is an overall better made movie than the first one. I still enjoy the first movie as some campy 60s style fun. I cannot really get as invested emotionally as some people do, but I do like it for its cheesy campiness.
Yeah. And it's the reverse for me. I mean, while in hindsight, I do feel that the direction this movie and its sequel were going for was maybe not quite right for Spidey, and while I overall feel that Sam Raimi had a better idea of the definitive take and would have gotten better with the 4th movie if Sony hadn't screwed him out of it, I do feel that they definitely gave good effort, and again, this is a nice start. I would have liked to have seen where... hold on, let me finish. I would have liked to see more a proper sequel, because let's be quite honest, the sequel we got to this movie was anything but proper. How a proper sequel would have carried this out.
When you mentioned about Spider-Man 3, it was that, and if Raimi hadn't mucked up stuff he established in the first place.
Not
What are
just
you
that.
talking about?
Well, remember, Joe, the whole, this guy was the one who actually killed Uncle Ben. That whole thing
was actually part of Sony's executive meddling. Remember how Sony wanted him to fit in the 3 villains? That was part of the deal with Sandman. See, originally Sandman was actually supposed to just be a common crook, like he usually is.
Raimi wanted Sandman to be the villain in the first place.
Exactly. Exactly. He wasn't supposed to be some sympathetic guy who just happened to shoot Uncle Ben. He was literally just supposed to be a villain.
Yeah, well, the point is, Joe, but from what I hear, all sides had something. All sides fucked up somewhere, and that's how we got Spider-Man 3.
But take my word for it, Dwebs. Spider-Man 3 had more issues because of Sony executive meddling than Sam Raimi. I mean, look.
Yeah, I can actually believe that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's me speaking objectively. I mean, heck, you don't
Especially
even need to do
considering
that much
Sony's track
research.
record.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
In fact, the same thing happened with Amazing Spider-Man 2, actually, because
Yeah,
we actually had Andrew Garfield himself say that he actually liked the original script that Orky and Kurtzman made. Apparently, Orky and Kurtzman got screwed by Sony as well, because according to Andrew Garfield, their original script that they presented was much better, and apparently Sony basically butchered it.
Not only that, but look at the connections, Dwibs. Like Spider-Man 3, Amazing Spider-Man 2 went on a way more darker than usual tangent. 3 villains, one of the villains getting literal...
I already know that, Joe.
We already know that.
Yeah. Basically, what I'm saying is, like, I honestly do believe that Sam Raimi had a vision that would have worked better if Sony... Well, actually, here's one thing I don't get. If anyone can answer me this, why did Sony feel the need to executive meddle? I mean, seriously, Sam Raimi gave them what was at the time considered one of the absolute greatest superhero films, Spider-Man 2. So why did they feel the need to executive meddle with Spider-Man 3?
I think that was more Avi Arad, considering his track record.
Oh, right, Avi Arad. Well, again, the question still stands. Regardless of how one may feel about Spider-Man 2, at the time, it was really praised to high heaven, and granted, I also like it a lot, but don't worry, Pedro, I will acknowledge its flaws. But I do have to ask, why did they feel the need to executive meddle? I mean, that's like executive meddling with James Cameron after making Titanic the highest gross-rating film of all time.
I think coming up now is a scene that I remember... Oh, wait, no,
Never mind.
No, that's later, Dwebs. That's later. Anyway, here's an interesting thing that I like about this particular iteration, actually, that we just saw earlier. Remember, did you notice that scene where Peter was looking at his mask?
Yeah.
Basically, Shiroi, if you remember, Peter in not just in the first Raimi movie, also in the comics, kind of. Well, I think
he questions himself as being Spider-Man at times.
Not just that, Joel, but I was also going to mention another thing. Remember how in the first Raimi movie, Shiroi, granted, accidentally, he kind of led Uncle Ben's killer to, kind of dying because of he fell from that window. And again, it was an accident. I mean, he didn't even do anything. Yeah. It was mostly just a spur of the moment thing.
Here, he doesn't even find his uncle's killer, which is weird.
No. Actually, Joe, allow me to say that. Here's how I saw it when I first. That scene where he finally saved that kid and shit, and then he looks at it. I kind of like to think that maybe what they're going for is that he let go. He finally realized that revenge is not going to bring him anything.
Yeah.
So I kind of appreciate. It's kind of a correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, but has Peter ever taken this approach in any taken the origin story in the comics?
Actually, no. I mean, that's actually the thing. It's like okay. Like, well, I mean, granted, he doesn't always accidentally make the guy fall. Like, in Spectacular Spider-Man, he still catches the guy, but basically, in all continuities, he eventually catches the guy and realizes that that's his uncle's killer. Which again is why I do find it weird, because he doesn't even know for sure if the guy who shot his uncle was actually the guy from the store. But I will agree with you that him letting go is a good thing. I mean, granted, I don't personally like that they do that instead of, him actually knowing for sure that's his killer. But I will agree that him letting go, that's nice and unique. But yeah, this is literally...
I actually prefer it because, at the end of the day, it won't get him anything.
Oh.
He'll probably end up regretting it later on.
Oh, he does end up regretting it in most continuities, but but don't worry, Sherry Michael, he doesn't always kill the guy. It's just like, he finds the guy and, either accidentally pushes him out in self-defense, or... Okay, yeah.
Who did that? It wasn't me, I swear.
Anyway.
Greg did it.
Anyway,
like I said, I like that because it's a nice message, I think.
Yeah. It's like I said. While I personally may not like it, I will agree it's a good message. Although I just, again, my only pet peeve is like, he never knows for sure if that guy actually killed his uncle, unlike every other continuity.
True.
Because, this is the only continuity to do that. You're right. Oh, by the way, Dr. Connors... Oh, sorry, go on.
It's a nice little... that helps differentiate this one from the first Raimi movie.
Yeah, I will say, if I were doing this, and I did do that, I'd have still had the compromise that he finds the guy, but just turns him in. Because that would feel like it would definitely come full circle. Now, okay, now here's the weird thing, Shiroi. Shiroi, about the lizard. See, normally in the comics and other continuities, he becomes a lizard because he researches in lizard DNA. However, here, it's by mixing in spider DNA that he becomes a lizard.
But those are two completely different.
Yeah, I'm gonna be quite honest.
I'll give it that.
They
The logic
explain
doesn't really
that.
make any sense. Yeah, the logic of why he turns into a lizard in this one doesn't really make any sense. Yeah, I will agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah. And also,
I kind of, you know what? They should have just gone with, okay, he was studying lizards because lizards have the ability to regenerate their body parts.
Yeah.
And then mix it with and then mix it with the spider DNA. There you go. Why did you even have the rats at the beginning? Why not just lizards?
Yeah. Well,
I mean, that would have worked just fine.
Okay. To be fair, he was.
I get it because lab
okay.
rats, but the thing is, lizards are also easy, so I don't see why they couldn't have had lizards there.
Yeah.
But anyway, carry on, Jover.
Yeah. I was actually about to say, yeah. To be fair, he had the lab rats around because he was doing tests on them. Oh, also, there's a jarring scene that's about to come up, which kind of makes me wonder something. It's coming up.
Oh, by the way, did I mention that this movie has the best Stan Lee cameo of all time?
So,
what is that rat eating?
Another rat.
By the way, Shiroi, that's the last we ever see or hear of that lab rat. Yeah, no one ever investigates into that further. And
it's a cannibal lab rat. Let's just leave it.
And I'm gonna wait. I got it. I got it. If we did get an Amazing Spider-Man 3, the rat would have been the villain.
Oh,
by the way.
However,
by the way, Shiro, let me. Sorry, go ahead.
That also brings up an issue I'm going to have with this conversation here. See, Peter's actually going to try and do the sensible thing and tell Captain Stacy about it. Tell him that Dr. Connors is doing something illegal. Here's the thing, though. He never brings up the lab rat. Like, seriously, he asks for proof, and he doesn't mention the giant lizard rat.
Yeah,
it's like,
I think the problem is that they wanted. I think the problem is that they wanted the rat to use the rat as some kind of foreshadowing for later. The problem is that it didn't really need to go. You could at least solve that at least.
Now you're probably wondering, Shiroi, well, it's just one thing. This ties into one of the issues that everyone agrees on this movie. The villain isn't the best.
No, not really. I agree.
I mean,
granted, the lizard character's never really been all that interesting, even in the comics.
Okay. To be fair, Pedro, compare this to the video game. That actually did a lot more stuff with the lizard.
True.
Which is sort of why a lot of people say, well, also, there's also the issue that,
Which video game?
The 2002 one, the one that I've been recording.
Well,
because I have the Xbox version.
Because the only one I played was the one.
Actually, Pedro, the lizard shows up in Spider-Man 3, the video game.
Oh, you're talking about Spider-Man 3 video game. Okay.
Wait, hold on. Which video game were you talking about?
The 2002 movie one.
Yeah,
the one that
I don't recall him being in that.
I know. I mistook things. Whatever.
Oh, but anyway. Well, okay. When I was talking about a video game, I was actually talking about the video game based off of this movie.
Oh, okay. I never played that, so I don't know.
You were going to say something, Pedro, before that scene?
I was. Shiro, just a little preparation for later. You do know who Stan Lee is, right?
Yes.
Okay, then.
You've seen him in the movies, right?
Yeah.
Good.
All right, then.
Oh!
One of the running things with every Marvel movie is that there's always a Stan Lee cameo, and this movie probably has the greatest Stan Lee Oh, God, there you go, Dwips. It's this scene.
Here we go.
What's this?
I remember Jover. I remember when me and Jover initially did our now scrapped impressions video of Spider-Man stuff, and there's one moment in particular that Jover called attention to.
And this is one that pretty much everybody agrees is stupid.
Yeah, now sure, you may have mentioned how I mentioned earlier that, Peter is kind of a bit of an idiot in this movie. Like, seriously, he has to look up on YouTube how to make his web slingers. Which, actually, here's a good question. Why the heck is there a YouTube video telling him how to make web slingers in the first place?
Jova, it may be Thunderfoot.
Because it's sci-fi and cool.
Hey, Jova, have you heard of Thunderfoot?
No. Oh, goody. And now, Shiroi, listen, I think we're about to get our evil plan. Oh wait, no.
There
Never
was
mind.
there was a father in the UK who actually recently got a video tutorial of how to make a bionic for his son.
Really?
Yeah, and it was
Make-
actually
make-
Oh
it's
wait,
actually
and mobile app
Now he's
game.
playing Puzzle Bubble.
Make a what, sorry, Stewie?
a father found a video tutorial on how to make a bionic arm. He made it for his
Bionic
arm.
arm. That's
yeah
cool.
bionic arm. Yeah.
Have you guys seen the 1,000 degree knife videos?
Yes.
Those videos are amazing.
What are those about?
It's a guy who literally heats up a knife to literally 1,000 degrees
And just slices through random shit. It's great
Yeah,
to watch.
it's
Really?
amazing.
Wow.
No, I'll have to. There's loads of them. Just type in 1,000 degrees. You get hundreds and hundreds of videos.
I will
Seriously, the
definitely
guy-
be doing that in my free time. Oh, look
And
at that!
now
Oh,
the-
it's just a Liz.
See?
Now, here's a weird thing.
And now, hang on,
For those who
before you say
don't-
anything, before you say anything, Joe, I got this. And now, playing the web harp, a bunch of lizards.
As you guys probably know, lizards eat bugs. So yeah.
Now here's
Attack!
a weird thing. Where did we get all
Oh,
these
God.
lizards?
All right, so now it's my turn to complain. I don't like the design of the lizard in this movie.
Like seriously, he's supposed to have a snout for crying out loud. He's supposed to look like a giant alligator lizard, except here
It doesn't look like a lizard. It looks like a reptile man with claws. I
Is
don't
there-
get
is
it.
there-
I mean, it's
Is there an
supposed to
actual
look like a
character
lizard.
called Reptile Man or something, Joe?
Yeah, probably. And
No, we're fighting underwater.
whoopsie.
I mean,
It doesn't
I mean,
work that way, so...
I'm not saying that the design is like terrible, ruined forever. Oh my god, or anything. But I have to wonder the design choice of the face.
yeah.
I mean, if the face looks derpy.
and I'm gonna be quite honest.
What is
this-
it with? You know, whether it's Sam Raimi or these movies, what is it with them always having a bit of a hard time with the face?
The
stuff?
Oh,
villain's design, yeah.
No.
Oh, here
no.
we go.
Zeroy.
Oh, God.
Property of
Property
Peter.
of Peter Parker.
Okay.
Brilliant job, Peter.
Okay.
Brilliant.
Okay. Let me take it from here. Now,
Go
look.
ahead.
For as silly as the Sam Raimi movies could be, whenever the villain learned about Peter's secret identity, it felt earned to an extent. See, in
Yeah.
Spider-Man 1, Norman Osborn pieced it together because Peter, not knowing that he was the Green Goblin, of course, accidentally ended up showing the big cut that he gave to him as the Green Goblin. So he
Yeah.
actually pieced things together, and that was a neat deduction. In Spider-Man 2...
Here they use the stereotypical left something behind stick.
Not only that, he put his name on a camera while going around as Peter Parker. My God, like almost
Why would you carry something like that with you?
all
If you
any.
know it, you're wearing a costume to hide your identity. Oh, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to carry around something that has my identity on it.
I mean,
No objection here. Carry
I
on.
mean. Okay, look, I get that. Okay, I get that. A lot of my nitpicks are nitpicks, but God dang, movie! If you're trying to convince
No,
me
that-
that
Oh, no,
Peter's...
we're all with you on this, Joe.
No, this is not a nitpick. This is just you could have come up with something better. Come
Yeah.
on, guys.
You may as well just had him wear a huge sign on his head saying, "I'm Peter Parker."
like, I
Nosy
mean,
father is nosy.
Crabs.
okay, and I'm gonna be quite honest. That excuse was lame. I mean,
Oh,
your
crabs.
girl, your father's a cop. That should not really be fooling him.
Well, Jova, Jova. No, I'm sorry, Jova. I'm gonna have to interject there. A father misunderstanding a daughter. That's typical.
That's
That has a
common.
boy in her room, though, and actually believes that all those sounds he heard were cramps. I mean, and again, he's a police captain. He's supposed to be, you know, like, really smart. Ha.
Bug boy.
Is that supposed to be a turn on or some shit? I don't know.
Actually, I can't imagine. I can't imagine that working well during, bonky time.
Yeah.
In fact, actually, I just thought of something else that I would like to mention.
Yeah?
Okay, Shiro, remember? Okay, like we just said earlier, remember how in those Raimi movies, Pretty much all Mary Jane did was, get kidnapped so Peter could go save her.
Yeah, she was
Ironically,
always
until
basic.
Spider-Man 3, but yeah, I'll talk about that joke later.
But yeah, go ahead.
Let's just say Gwen Stacy has quite the role in the climax.
This movie or the sequel?
This one, Joba. This one.
Sure, do you know how Gwen Stacy's character went in the comics, at least? Because that's something a
No,
lot of
I
people
don't.
bring up.
I'm talking about this movie. Let's get to the second one later.
Yeah, let's stick to this film, Joe.
Yeah.
You'll have well over 2 hours to bash the sequel later.
No, trust me. I don't want to bash the sequel right now too much because I'm just knowing how mentally prepared Shiro is going to be for what happens in the sequel.
To clarify, Jova, for this relationship in particular, I don't know anything outside of what I've seen here.
Well, you do know that Spider-Man is, normally married to Mary Jane, right?
No, usually, whenever people talk about Spider-Man, they usually only mention Mary.
Yeah, that's the
There's
reason.
not a lot of mention of this woman.
There's a kind of a good reason for that, but don't spoil it.
I'm not going to spoil anything, don't worry. Gwen Stacy is not going to be his permanent girlfriend. Eventually, he'll meet the love of his life, which is Mary Jane. In fact,
yeah, I know that.
Peter spends most of his time in the comics married to Mary Jane, except when Joe Quesada is involved, but that's a topic for another time.
Yeah, let me just put it like this. Even Stan Lee went out of his way to, in the newspaper comic strip, make the event that made them not married just a bad dream.
Yeah.
And I will regard that as canon, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Lee.
By the way,
Anyway.
Shuri, I'm tempted. I think I may want you to be in on our One More Day commentary because that's going to be a heavy hitter.
Anyway.
I've heard that isn't that like the absolute worst Spider-Man anything?
Yes.
Dwibs.
Nothing even compared.
Dwibs,
Amazing
it's considered
Spider-Man
by-
2.
Yeah.
Dwibs. I think I'm going to go with Spider-Man 2. Amazing Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man 3 are fucking masterpieces compared to One More Day.
Not only that, Dwibs, One More Day is considered by some to be the worst comic book, the worst retcon in any piece of media.
Yeah.
I say that without exaggeration. Worse than Civil War. Worse than Cry for Justice. Worse.
By Civil War, he means the comic book.
Yeah. Worse than anything Frank Miller wrote. Yeah, I'm not taking it back. I would take 10 Frank Miller, and when I say Frank Miller, I mean, Frank Miller as he is currently. He used to be a good writer. You know what? Actually, no. You know what? I would take the entirety of everything bad Frank Miller's written over One More Day. It is that bad. Oh, yeah, there's this stupid thing about how he has an alter ego, even though, okay, look. In the Sam Raimi movie, it made sense how the villains in 1 and 2 had these alter egos.
The Raimi movie even did it this because that's kind of how it was in the comics even. In here, it doesn't make any sense for the Lizard to have an alter ego.
Oh, and also, look at that. He has the lab coat on at first, but then just tears it off. Now, okay, so here's the thing, Shuri. Normally in the comics, the lizard is, a giant-looking, alligator-looking lizard with a lab coat on because, it shows that he's part man, part lizard. Here, he doesn't even really wear the coat. He's just naked.
Yeah.
Really? Did you really want to pay homage to the abomination from Hulk 2008? Also, how the heck did nobody notice that Peter was running towards that guy?
Anyway, all right, get ready, everybody, because the god of comic books is about to make his appearance.
Yeah, I agree. His cameo here was way better than his cameo in the Avengers, surprisingly.
No. His cameo. Well, I thought his cameo in Avengers was fine. It's just that this one is
this one's much better.
Yeah.
Legendary. This one is legendary.
Parker, this is a bit ironic, isn't it?
You're telling me, Doc. Shuri, is this a secret wish that all the Welsh want to do is just turn people into lizards so they're like dragons?
No. There wasn't enough sheep in his experiment, I think.
Yeah.
But
well, to be fair.
Oh wait, hold on. Now here's a weird
Here you
thing.
go.
Now, okay, notice how Peter's trying to talk Kirk Connors out of it. However, believe it or not, in about a few minutes he's gonna then start just teasing him.
Well, because by this point he's not stopped attacking him or anything.
Well,
so-
to be fair, Jova, it's not like he didn't do this in the comics when he was fighting villains or anything.
Well, the weird... No. See, here's the weird
Even
thing.
the
though.
Lizard, I've seen him do this to the Lizard in other continuities.
No. I get him trying to talk him out, but the weird thing is, like, well, at some point he just stops trying to talk him out and then just makes fun of him. I don't get that.
My guess is he figured it's useless.
Yeah, because he's too far gone at this point.
Yeah, but what good was making fun of him gonna do? Oh, wait, that's right, that's his usual.
Oh wait,
thing.
never mind.
Well,
it's fine.
Jova, let's not forget the usual interpretation is that the reason Peter does so many sarcastic remarks is
Alright,
because
this-
it's a way to get away from the fear that he secretly feels when he's fighting crime.
Fair point.
That's always been the common interpretation fans have. Oh, there we go.
Oh, no.
There you go. Gwen Stacy is actually willing to help. Thank you.
Yeah, I get that that's the common interpretation. I'm just saying, like, well, the order of which the events take place is jarring.
Yeah, I understand that, but I saw
So
it as
now he's running away.
Yeah, I gotta
Like I
say that pose looks like he's trying to hide his breasts or something.
I'm gonna
Bye!
Very hard to
so
admit.
Peter Parker's turned into Miss Trunchbull. Okay.
Sure, he does that a lot, actually. But don't worry, he usually does that with the right sense.
That was a really good joke, actually.
Yeah,
I liked
it was.
I think
Yeah,
probably
that
not.
was funny.
Here we go.
Yeah, now he's making fun of him.
There we go.
There we go. This is awesome. Whoa! Yep, definitely his best cameo yet.
You know,
Hold on, it's not over yet, though. Hold on.
Okay.
Wait, we sure it's not over yet?
Hold on.
Wait, what happens if we kill Stan Lee in these movies?
If I remember correctly, wasn't there something else?
No, I think that's all.
Oh,
Why
yeah.
did he take his mask off?
For some reason, I remember having some other... But yeah, that was a great cameo.
Yeah.
But why did he take his mask off?
I have no idea.
But anyway, I mean, for his very few funny moments that are actually in this movie, when it is funny, it's actually pretty funny.
Oh, I absolutely agree. I
I think the movie does a really good job in balancing out the tone. I mean, there's enough humor here, I think.
Your mileage may vary. I will admit to that. Your mileage may vary.
Oh no, there's plenty of humor here, but some of it's quite hit and miss. But when I like a particular joke, I really like it.
Yeah. That's definitely the best way to put it. I will say the sequel actually does improve on definitely making, when it actually is trying to be funny, more hit than rather hit and miss.
You know what else I like in this? You know what else I like in the second movie over this one, Jova?
The costume.
Go-
No, actually, the cinematography.
I was also about to say that too, the visuals. Because
The color palette. I mean, the color palette here is fine, but because of the change to cinematographers in the second movie, we had a lot more color in that one.
you know what's ironic, Dwibs?
Yeah.
The fact that it's a sequel that tries to be more dark and gritty. I don't get why they...
And yet it's the more colorful one.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, Pedro. They really didn't have any reason to go that dark and gritty route with Electrode, did they?
Not really, no.
Oh,
like I said,
God, here we go. Now, Shiroi, if you thought Peter having a secret identity leaked was dumb, here's how he finds out about Dr. Kirk Connor's plan. See, the doctor just left the computer on for anyone to play. For reference, there's this show called How It Should Have Ended on YouTube. It's a pretty good YouTube channel. And
I've seen some of those videos.
Basically,
Oh,
there's...
Joe, come on, Joe. You play BioShock. You should know all better than us that this is nothing but a video log.
Yeah, anyway...
Well, BioShock's a bit screwy, so...
Yeah, and to be fair, those are tape recorders left around from people who died, but I digress.
I don't trust anything in BioShock.
Day 2. All I can find is more and more audio logs. Why did they bother even when they knew they were in perfect danger?
So anyway, Shuri, so here's how he finds out about the evil doctor's plan. He just leaves the video on. Now, in How It Should Have Ended, the doctor listens to lizards because, oh yeah, it's actually established, but you may have missed it. He can actually communicate with lizards now. One of the lizards actually tells him, you should just turn it off. And he says, oh yeah, that's a good idea. It would really suck if somebody walked in on it just like that to find out. And he turns it off.
Hold on, Jova. Look at that.
Oh, look.
The lab coat is back.
He's wearing the lab coat. Maybe he'll keep it on.
I really should get this lab coat repaired.
And...
It gets shot off.
Okay, I'm gonna be quite honest. Were you just trying to make fun of the fans who wanted him to be, like the Lizard brought to cinematic stuff? I mean, look, guys, it pissed people off in DMC the Reboot when Dante had a wig on and then threw it away. Don't you think it's gonna piss people off here too? And he's totally not gonna get up, guys. He's totally not gonna get up. Oh, man, he got up.
I guess you gods are a little green with envy.
Uh,
See, this is what happens to you when you shoot first and ask.
and he tears
Yeah.
it off.
Well, to be fair, Joe, it was pretty shut up.
Yeah, but
Maybe-
why even
maybe
bother
we're-
having the lab coat if you're just gonna get rid of it like that?
Maybe Welsh scientists don't like lab coats. They're like House, where he doesn't like wearing doctor coats.
It's like, I mean, come on, give the Super Mario Brothers movie credit. At least they kept the costumes on for the majority. Well, for the film after. For the film
Yeah, at least they
afterwards.
kept the costumes, but they shouldn't have kept everything else.
Indeed. And
Yeah.
now the Lizard is to.
Well, Yeah, because if there's one thing that I've learned from these superhero movies, sometimes, yes, it's nice to have a costume, but there are those occasions where having the costume would actually feel way out of place.
Well, the Mario Brothers shouldn't have been in Brooklyn in the first place.
But sure, well,
All right,
wait.
I love the scene. I love the scene here.
Okay.
Yeah, I love
Wait,
that.
wait,
I
wait,
love
hold
the
on.
fact that-
Wait, listen. You mother trucker, you.
Robert, are you serious?
You mo-
I love how Gwen. That's another thing that I like about Gwen. Gwen is really independent in the sense that she will flat out disobey Peter because she wants to help out and shit. Like,
Now, it's a shame that they turned this into a detriment in the sequel. Okay, I get it. Okay, I get it. I really shouldn't be harping on the sequel too much, but I gotta say, this was a quality I actually did like about Gwen Stacy in this movie, and yet they actually turned it into a problem in the sequel. We really don't like the sequel.
There is no escape.
Well, okay. Again, I mean, the sequel
Well,
is...
disobeying an order can get you in trouble, but it's case by case basis.
No. Trust me, Shiroi. They make Gwen Stacy practically dumb in the sequel because of his trait.
yeah.
But she's fine. But she's fine here.
Again,
know.
Shiroi, let's just
I know what
say...
she means, trust me.
Let's just say the sequel had way different direction in a lot of senses.
Mostly because of Sony's bullshit.
Yeah. Again, Shiroi.
But again, though, you just said it like a minute ago, Joe. Shouldn't we focus more on this movie?
Well, Dwibs, I was saying I know I shouldn't have, but it does bear mentioning.
Whoops, Spidey's dead.
Well,
Wasted.
Sorry, Joe. It turns out that sequel isn't happening. Spider-Man's
It never
dead.
happened. Yay.
So yeah, like I said,
Okay, I'm going to refrain from making the joke that could have prevented the sequel because I actually do love the scene that's going to follow after this. However, Shiroi, this is probably a good time for me to mention that no, J. Jonah Jameson will not be in this movie.
Alright, now let's see who's behind the mask.
Uh,
I can look into your eyes as you... Oh, wait, sorry, that's the other movie. And... Boop.
okay, yeah, the way he tries to keep his face in here, that's actually kind of cool.
Yeah, keep your head down, Peter. Don't, otherwise you might bang your head on something. Whee!
Whoopsie. And here's a
And now the jig is up.
Now here's the thing, Shiroi. Believe it or
I
not,
do like.
now believe it or not, Shiroi, somehow no one else sees his face during this, despite the fact that it's in the light and everything.
Well, even if
So
they
yeah.
saw it, well, even if they saw his face, it wouldn't really.
Really, what? Sorry, Siri?
I said it wouldn't matter if any of the other police saw him anyway, because it's one guy who knows who he is.
Well, Shiroi, police records are a thing.
Yeah, not just that, but okay. Basically, like we said, like earlier, we of course
Oops.
Captain
He
Sissy,
said, he said, hold your fire, no.
Captain Stacy earlier established, of course, that he doesn't like Spider-Man because he's a vigilante and shit, but he will, but he decided to let him go because he's the only one who can save Gwen and the city, and he knows it.
Okay.
So, moving on.
Now, I'm also going to say this. The scene that follows is incredibly heartwarming.
Yeah.
But it's a shame that the sequel will forget about it.
Wow, get it? Heartwarming because it involves fire.
Wait, where's the fire?
I'm pretty sure that wasn't the joke, but...
That Bunsen burner. The Bunsen burner trick.
Look out, guys. We've got a biohazard here.
Where's the fire?
Wait, do you mean a biohazard or a Resident Evil Jonah?
Both, actually. There's a resident, and he's very evil.
And he is a bit of a biohazard.
Oh, come on. Your puns are going to have mass effect on this shit.
Also, it sounds like James... It sounds like James Horner just took a hammer and pounded it on the piano.
Well, that's sort of the idea, is to set up suspense. Also,
I do love his main Spider-Man, is the main theme of this movie, which we're going to hear in great thing later on when Peter's swinging.
Yeah, because
we hear more in the end credits.
Wait for it. Maybe he's just gonna pass. Whoops!
Here you think I'd fall for that trick?
Well, snap! She's actually holding him off. Unfortunately, he was able to get the capsule.
Hold on.
Whoopsie! And now it's complete.
Ugh, those idiot cops.
Oh boy, here we go.
Okay, this is what's about to come up is hands down my favorite scene in spectacle and music.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the climax?
No, the web swinging scene that we're about to see.
Oh, okay.
Prepare
James
yourself,
Horner, Jim Horner's main theme, Mark Webb's good direction. It all comes together here to make a really awesome scene.
Hey, fun fact, actually, when I first saw this movie in cinema, I had no idea who the composer was. But trust me, the theme we're about to hear, it immediately clued me in. Is this James Horner? No, it can't be. But you'll see.
Not a composer, but it's kind of like how I could tell who Elsa's voice actress was purely from her speaking voice alone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then the moment she started singing, that basically confirmed it.
Well, Idina Menzel is a famous Broadway actress, so that's not really... Panic!
Well, a lot of the people well in the age range who went to see that movie is...
Get your mug over here. Good old cinematic New Yorker talk. Hey, I'm walking here. Bada bing, Bo. Get up and hollow ass over there.
It's interesting because when I think of the stereotypical New York accent, I think of stuff from like Rocky and Muggsy from the Looney Tunes.
It's cutting for you, Muggsy.
You're going to be voicing a particular Mario and Luigi character.
In which one?
Superstar Saga, Popple.
Goody. Me?
Oh, here we go.
Awesome.
Here we go.
Yeah, Popple, not Foffle, Popple.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Tio's got Fawful, and I'm guessing you'll be Calcoletto.
Yeah, Tio's got Foffle.
And you'll, of course, be Calcoletto, Shiroi.
Maybe, I guess. I don't know.
There you go.
Does that mean I get to be Bowser in that one particular...
Hold on, guys.
Yes, you do. Yes.
All right, guys.
Okay, yeah. Now
It's
I
time.
immediately could tell here that, yes, this is James Horner because, yeah, it sounds a lot like his Titanic soundtrack, especially with the woman singing and everything. And the choir all comes together. Now, basically, the cranes are coming to help him. But can he make it? Oops.
Oops. Fuck.
Swing and a miss.
Literally.
Oh.
That was the joke,
There you
Joe.
go.
Convenience.
Yeah,
And
okay.
timing.
Now, a lot of people find this scene corny. I actually really genuinely like this scene because it shows that the city is actually learning, hey, you know, this guy's a good guy. He actually is doing
Honestly-
something. Let's help him.
Not just that, Jova. Marvel citizens not being dicks. Honestly, I'll take it.
I know, right?
Why are they usually dicks?
Oh wait, I love this part. I love
let's-
this part. Oh, even the police are saying, "Oh, stop for Spidey." That's cute. But basically, Shuri, see, here's the thing. What usually separates the DC universe from the Marvel universe, well, one of the big things, is the fact that, well, DC citizens have a proper balance of people. Oh, wait,
let's
hold
listen to
on.
theme.
James Horner, you magnificent.
You see, that's what I like about Mark Webb's
Direction?
version of the web swinging, because with Raimi's ones, for the most part, all I can remember is just generic swinging motions. Here he actually does a lot of
Tricks
actually there's
and
a lot
whatnot.
of more yeah, there's a lot more tricks and stuff.
Yeah, admittedly,
So
they-
visually it looks more interesting.
yeah, admittedly, the effects sort of have that advantage, but yeah, I will agree with you that they do definitely do it well here. But yeah, crap, what was I talking about before we talked about how awesome the music was?
Oh, here you go.
Rachel?
This one. Oh, this one. Hold on.
I could imagine Desiree Delight's father saying that to her if he ever found out that her husband was Mask Star to Mask.
The man of many masks, Spider-Man.
I'm so surprised that they never really threw in a Mask Star to Mask reference to when Phoenix Wright confronts Spider-Man in Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
And I got it, guys. He's thinking to himself now, "Oh Jesus Christ! I've devolved into the majority of MCU villains."
All right, Joe, but you were asking me something?
Yeah, I was talking about something before we talked about how awesome that scene with the cranes was.
Oh, yeah, the fact that the citizens are actually
Oh,
not being dicks.
Okay, basically, Shuri, see, DC and Marvel, in comic books wise, mind you, have quite a few differences. However, one of the main differences is the fact that everyone will agree that DC handles their citizens better. Because in the DC universe, there's actually a balance of people who respect and people who fear them. In the Marvel universe, on the other hand, being the good guy will get you arrested, and being the bad guy will get you rewarded. Case
In the
in
Marvel-
point, Civil War, the comic book. My
Even
God.
even the Raimi trilogy did fall under that trap a couple times here and there.
Well, okay.
sadly.
To be fair, the Raimi trilogy, though, at least... Okay. With the Raimi
Oh,
trilogy...
it did make up for it in some parts, I know, but
Well, Okay, see, here's how it went. The Raimi trilogy actually had the citizens gradually getting to know him better, and they went with that consistently. In fact, the only reason that they went back a bit was because, of course, of Black Suit Spider-Man. But pretty much when Spider-Man 1 into onward, Spider-Man becomes better and better here and there. However, here...
Oh, this bit here.
Oh.
Poor Peter Parker. Don't spit on him. That's rude.
No mother, no father. But I've still got my aunt, I've still got Gwen Stacy, I've still got her awesome father.
Oh, hey, Joey Knowles. Hey, Joey, you know Mark Webb's next movie?
What?
You know, not Amazing Spider-Man to me, the one he did. I mean, his actual next movie, Gifted. Chris Evans is in that one, so he's kind of directing someone from the MCU in this one.
to continue what Jova was saying, fortunately, Shiroi, the Marvel movie studios, fortunately, were wise enough to even ignore that trope altogether.
Now,
Okay.
now here's where it's really stupid, though. See, okay, notice how the citizens are actually Well, okay, I mean, the police and everything are actually helping Spider-Man by the end of this movie.
I'm guessing in the next movie that's gonna go to shit too.
No. Even better, Shiroi. They tried to bring in the whole J. Jonah Jameson thing. And they can't even actually bring the actual J. Jonah Jameson in. But, yeah, it goes quite a 180.
Yeah, I will give Marvel so many points if they bring back J.K. Simmons for homecoming.
Yeah.
Well, he's busy
I
playing Commissioner Gordon now, so...
I think there's one thing we
Oh,
can all
yeah, I
agree on.
forgot.
I think there's
Yes.
one... Well, who knows? That doesn't mean he can't be in on the Marvel Universe as J.K. As J. Jonah Jameson. But I think there's one thing we can all agree on. The lack of J. Jonah Jameson in any of these movies was... No, that you just can't.
It's a bit
Yeah.
of a letdown.
It is, yeah.
Although to be fair, it would have been really hard to replace J.K. Simmons.
Well,
Yeah.
why not just get J.K. Simmons? I mean, he was even more available back then. And now, oh no, my plan backfired because, yeah, he was able to upload the cure into that thing.
Yeah.
And that, Shiroi, is the end of our villain's plan.
Well, I do like the fact that it was a collaboration between the police, Gwen Stacy's science knowledge, and Peter's superhero antics.
Oh, I
It was
agree.
a collaboration of a lot of people.
Oh, I agree. I mean, okay, I love the solution, but again, it ties back to how I'm not really that big on this movie's villain is all.
Oh, no, yeah, no, I will agree. Lizard in general is a very underwhelming villain. He's not
Well-
terrible, but he's not that interesting either.
Well, to be fair, though, I mean, like, well, again, I mean, like, well, if you want to put your best foot forward with an origin story, then make him better. I mean, like, well, I've seen plenty of superhero movies
I
that
agree.
have made villains, you know, maybe not as great before.
Oh, there you go. I guess there you go. This is the moment, actually. He actually tries to redeem himself by saving him or something.
Well, of course he redeems himself because now he's cured. Yeah, actually, I don't get the moral here. Was it like turning into a lizard makes you evil, makes you want to be superior? I mean, I hate.
Well, to be fair, it was like that in the comics as well.
Well, okay. Well, to be fair, though, the newer comics actually did go into more about how it's a superiority complex. And, well...
So basically, if you have a massive ego, you're evil.
Well, okay. I'm not going to go into the entire explanation because, well, it's comic books, and, well, if I try to explain the entirety of the lore for him nowadays, we'll be here all
So
night.
is he gonna die here, or is he fine?
Yeah, actually, here's one thing I don't get. He's dying, but why can't Peter just swing him down to an ambulance?
I mean,
Actually, he just suggested it.
He just said.
Okay, yeah, remember how I brought up the fact that he was clearly in the light, so some police should have seen him? Yeah, now Captain Stacy Sear says, no, you shouldn't because then they'll see you. He was in the spotlight, you idiot! Let him save you!
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just to compare, in the comics, he dies because of an attack from Dr. Octopus in a very, very heart-wrenching story.
I should point out that spotlights are incredibly deceiving depending on what angle you're looking at the object in the spotlight from.
Yeah,
A spotlight actually creates a lot of shadow,
but
ironically.
Yeah,
Here we go. Here's a here's a
promise.
controversial moment. Basically, in his dying words, he makes Peter promise not to see Gwen anymore.
Okay, now this is actually pretty stupid. See, in the comic books, his dying words were for Peter to look after Gwen Stacy and take care of her, but here he says, not ditch her, and don't
Because
even tell her
hashtag
why.
drama.
And
I do like. Well, it does happen, but here's the interesting thing. As we're going to see later, Gwen decides, you know what, fuck that. I want to be with you, so I'll be with you. So that's so even Gwen decided to.
Well, it's like, it's not up to my dad, so whatever.
Well,
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. If it were just Gwen saying screw you to him, that were it, I'd be fine with that, but there's a scene right before the credits that pissed a lot of people off. But, again, more on that later. But yeah, I'm gonna be honest, though. There are so many ways he could have swung him down. Like, well, okay, look, in the comics it made sense because Dr. Octopus was involved. But here, he could easily save him. And,
Well, to be
Yeah, it's
fair,
like there are
Joe,
probably
listen-
loads of ambulance below them right now.
Wait. Squibs.
Hang on.
Let Jobs go.
Yeah, let me finish for once. Remember, Joe, the lizard did kind of stab him right through his chest.
Yeah, but he could have patched it up with a web shot, like he did to his
Yeah,
leg.
patch up internal injuries with web.
It would have been temporary, and Peter actually has done that with his webs. But, Dwibs, you remember that thing how you get annoyed by something that could have been solved, but they just choose not to? That's kind of how that is for me with that.
Yeah,
I know he probably
I
would have
don't feel
died,
that
but the
way.
thing is, he didn't even try.
Yeah, and all just for the sake
I
of trying
don't-
to keep
I
Peter's
don't-
identity secret. It's flimsy.
I don't see it like that. boy.
Okay, also, here's another down thing. Remember how originally, when he came out beaten up, Aunt May gave him hell for it? Here, well, just watch. Nothing said.
Sorry, Aunt May, I forgot my lines.
Wait for it.
Move the teleprompter,
He
please.
got her the eggs. That means it's okay that he was out late and had her worried while the city was in panic. Yeah, I'm gonna be quite honest. Where'd the whole yelling thing go? I mean,
I don't.
Just tired at this.
Well,
point.
there's one thing we learned in the beginning of the movie is that Aunt May is much less strict than Uncle Ben.
yeah, the weird thing is like, well, she was tough on him though earlier, so I mean, the fact that he comes even more beat up, cut up, and doesn't even tell her anything about it, it's just, oh, look, I got the eggs, and
The way I
Well,
interpret
there is a good
this
reason,
is-
actually. I actually have a good reason. Considering the attack and all the panic that went through in the city in this day, it kind of would make. She probably assumed that it would make sense for him to come like this. It probably was because of the various chaos that went on in the city.
maybe it's
That's
just...
what I was going to say. Like maybe she assumed that all the citizens would be in a designated area, which is usually the case. I mean, when a disaster happens, like the police just don't
Oh, here you go.
wander aimlessly. So that's how I interpret it as well.
Maybe it's just my
Oh,
annoyance
oh,
at the
wait,
fact that...
Oh, hey, Jova, before
What?
before this bit starts, guess who directed promotional adverts that involved Avengers: Age of Ultron along with Samsung?
Aviarad, Sony.
Mark Webb.
Oh, nice. But yeah, okay, let's listen to this scene.
Yeah, we just saw that, Glenn. We just saw that too.
Hey, this reminds me of that scene between him and Mary Jane when he wasn't able to make it to that theater show.
Again, I'll bring up my issues with that later.
Sorry, I can't do this. Mark, what are my lines again?
I don't know. I kind of find it really good the fact that Peter always gets speechless when he's trying to talk to Gwen. It's realistic.
Yeah.
Boys usually
Yeah.
will
Yeah,
get
no,
nervous.
Yeah, no, it just comes up. I know it's just if you look, if you're a bit more, if you look at it in a certain way, it looks like Andrew forgot his lines.
Awkward.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, I do like the fact that okay, if there's one thing I'll give the second movie is that even though Gwen doesn't
Don't...
say okay, hold on. Oh, there we go. She actually figured it out. You know, Joe, maybe what happened was they put all of the smartness in Gwen Stacy's character. That's why Peter's stupid.
So then, are you saying that they
So
swapped
they
them
decided
around
to-
for Amazing Spider-Man 2?
Yeah.
No, you see, Joe, but girls are smart and boys are stupid.
Well, then in that case, why the heck did
But they made it equal in the second movie.
And for that matter, why did they turn Dr. Kafka into a man? Dr. Kafka, who's normally a woman, they made a man. A German evil scientist.
Oh, okay.
But hey, if there's one argument, one argument that's debated as to whether someone would like say the first one or the second one is memorability.
What
And
are
And
we
I guess
comparing
it's
to?
hard. And when you're comparing this one to Amazing Spider-Man 2,
Oh,
fair,
yeah, that is a good point, actually.
and to be fair, it's kind of hard to forget a stereotypical German scientist.
Yeah, okay, I will admit that's
I would get results.
Yeah, I will admit, sadly, and I say this is really a sad thing, the movie people remember more as Amazing Spider-Man 2 for obvious reasons. Which I'll admit is kind of a
which is
shame,
sad
because I
which is a
really do
shame
think that
because
this movie definitely deserves the more recognition out of the two.
Yeah. Anyway, what I was saying earlier is that it doesn't happen in this movie, Shiroi, but in the second movie, basically, it's pretty much thing that Gwen Stacy knows what her father asked, but she doesn't care. So this thing about him not being with her will not carry over into the second movie. Fortunately, that's what I was fearing.
The problem is the scene right before the credits that he made is the reason why. Aw, that's cute graffiti. You know what? Actually, yeah. You know what? For sure, just so we can all get it out of our systems, my next pick is definitely going to be Amazing Spider-Man 2. But yeah, this ending is cute, but... Oh, I think he's pals with Flash now. Yay, they're friends now. Okay, Pedro, hear me out
Well,
here. Okay, Pedro.
Come on, Java. You know as well as I do that the only way to become friends with a hard-headed bully is to beat the crap out of him. That way, that's the only way he will respect you.
Okay, Pedro, hear me out here. I know that I'm...
So Spider-Man's an RPG.
Hear me out here.
Yes.
This could have worked if they maybe gave us a bit of screen time towards these two growing to each
Oh,
other. Because...
I agree. Yeah, I was just joking.
Yeah.
Actually, there is another thing I should bring up. The
Oh, wait,
trailers
hold
for
on.
this
The
movie
last
paint
line. It's about to come up to us.
The trailers of this movie paint a completely different movie to the one we actually got, and
Yeah.
apparently the reason why some stuff from the bits from the trailer isn't in the movie is because apparently fans started kicking up a fuss.
Don't make promises you can't keep. And quite a bit of fans said, screw you to that, because, okay, so, basically, okay, so Peter, you said to her face that I can't be with you, but then you're saying, yeah, you know what, despite the fact that you yourself were willing to break it, I'm gonna break my promise to your father deliberately. That could have been handled so much better line-wise.
Anyway, I was just gonna say, Jova.
I love this
this is
final
awesome.
lip syncing. Yes, let's watch this.
Woohoo!
Whee!
That's pretty cool.
And freeze frame.
Can I complete it now?
Hold on. To the screen. He's gonna fly straight into the screen earlier.
Mark, I'm getting dizzy.
But it's a fun ride with a full moon.
No, wait,
Well,
Andrew,
wow.
stop! No, you're gonna break the camera.
What? It's coming for us. Oh, wait, never mind. It's just his name.
You cut it away. And I was just gonna say, the trailers for this movie the trailers for this movie and the actual movie itself are completely different, because there were some scenes that were in this movie that didn't make it, and apparently the reason for that is because fans kicked up a fuss.
Which scenes were those?
I can't quite recall them for sure, but if you watch the trailers, Jeremy.
Although,
you'll get it.
didn't that problem become even more prominent with the sequel? Oh,
I'm
wait,
not
never
too
mind. Never mind. The sequel's problem was that the trailers pretty much spoiled the whole thing. But that's another story.
So
Okay,
anyway, that was Amazing Spider-Man.
Can I go first?
Go ahead.
Well, he did talk throughout most of it, but sure.
Well, we all talked a lot. But yeah, I gotta say, I like this movie. I mean, okay, I don't love it like I used to love it. And maybe a bit of my pointing out a lot of criticisms is me having a sort of personal backlash against it when, the hype fell. Because, yeah, obviously for not as long as Spider-Man 2, but for a while, this movie did get hyped up a lot. As, like the new definitive means of Spider-Man, and I was one of those people who was all like that. But looking back
I never
at
saw
it...
that, but sure.
Yes, I'll admit,
go ahead.
you were better than me in that regard.
Wait, what?
Anyway, as I was... Oh, wait, I almost forgot this scene!
Oh, God.
Hey, guys,
Are you
what's...
Damn it, I switched off the movie.
Here
No, I
we
left it on
go.
because I expected an after-credit scene in this kind of movie.
Yeah.
Damn it, I switched.
So normally I
switched-
switch it off too, but I had a...
Yes,
I had a-
Yes.
sorry, I switched it off too. What was going on?
Everyone
It's that
agrees
scene where,
that this is
Kurt-
stupid.
It's Kurt Connors in jail and Norman Osborn telling him, I got an idea for you, even though you'll not be in the next movie.
Actually, I don't think that's even Norman Osborn. It's...
Isn't it?
Isn't that Indian guy?
No, actually, it's someone whose face we don't see. You see?
I'm pretty sure they
no,
imply that's Norman Osborn, isn't it?
No,
it's
I got
not.
it. No, wait, Jova, I got it. It's Avi Arad.
Basically,
Uh,
Pedro, remember, he also shows up at the end of Amazing Spider-Man 2, so it can't be Norman Osborn.
Alright, there's no more sequence after
Basically, Shiroy, that was the big, and I mean really big, sequel hook, because basically, The guy who was all in the shadows and everything said, I can reveal something about him, about his parents' past or something like that. And then the doctor said, no, you shouldn't, and stuff like that. And then lightning flashed and he was gone.
Huh.
Sequel baiting, sequel baiting, sequel baiting. I don't care whether or not this movie is good or bad. That was kind of clumsy since, well, they were kind of counting their chickens before their eggs hatched.
Yeah, I don't like that scene either, so whatever. Yeah.
But yeah, I'll go first. I like this movie. Now, granted, I definitely prefer the first Sam Raimi movie, comparing it to this first movie. For reasons. I do like how the Sam Raimi movie had action more so, but again, the action here, save for some of the fight scenes, is pretty good. And Spidey swinging here is definitely done better. It has the advantage of 2012 over 2002. It's a fun movie. There's not as many wisecracks as I would like there to be, but when the humor hits, it hits well. And gosh darn that Stan Lee cameo. That was pure awesomeness. The music is a delight. James Horner at some of his best. And I do like how triumphant the ending is. That's the thing. It's like, I do like triumphant superhero endings. Because, well, it's a superhero ending. Let's have some triumph in the end, yo.
You hear that, Tim Burton? But that's a tough
Well,
one.
to be fair, the Batman 89 has one of the greatest triumphs as well.
I'm talking about Spider-Man Returns, though.
Spider-Man Returns. That's a new movie.
Batman Returns.
Hey, Joe, I don't know. Sorry, Joe, that was just for a second. Hey, Joe, I don't know about you, but I'm so looking forward to hearing more of Horner's amazingness in the sequel. Oh.
Well, actually, never mind. I'll take that back. You hear that, Zack Snyder? There you go. That's the better joke.
Yeah, definitely better comparing it to Sucker Punch. What? That's your... Wait. Oh, I can hear the audience saying, wait, Sucker Punch was supposed to be a superhero movie? You heard right, folks.
Well, it's Zack Snyder. He loves comic books and superheroes.
But he
Go
did
ahead.
so much better with Watchmen, and we're going off into a completely different tangent.
Your mileage may vary, but yeah, go ahead.
But yeah, this movie has the triumphant stuff. Now, obviously, it doesn't feel like the best Spider-Man movie because, admittedly, one of the things holding back this movie is that you can tell that they're doing a lot of setup for later ones. Now, still, though, it does well with what it has to do, except for the villain. Yeah, they could have done better. His motivations aren't that well explained, and, well, the design, as we've all said, looks... Ugh. Lame.
I don't think it looks terrible, but yeah, it does look...
Yeah, it's... Yeah, whatever you're thinking. And again, Peter being dumb here. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not gonna let that camera scene go. Property of Peter Parker. Please return to this address. I'm totally not Spider-Man. I mean... wow. Yeah, we beat that into the ground. Effects are good. A few missteps here, but... mostly good. And I do like Andrew Garfield when he's Spider-Man. I don't really like him as Peter Parker that much, but I'll admit, for what he has to work with, he's definitely a great Spider-Man. I will admit I also personally like Tobey Maguire and Tom Holland better. But think about it like I like him the least the same way I like Ryan Drummond as Sonic the least. I still think he's pretty good, just my least favorite. And there you go. My thoughts of Amazing Spider-Man. A good movie. Not as good as the Raimi trilogy or from what I've seen of Spider-Man in Civil War. But hey, that doesn't mean it's bad. It's still pretty good. Like, go see it. I insist.
Honestly, I thought those 15 minutes of Spider-Man in Civil War was the best of movie Spider-Man we've ever had in general.
I may be inclined to agree on that. Tom Holland is pretty great.
Yeah, Civil War also served as a great trailer for Homecoming.
But
anyway,
more on that awesomeness later when we get to that. Who wants to go next?
me, why not? Since I'm the other.
Oh wait,
opposite.
actually, wait, hold on. In loving memory of Laura Ziskin and J. Michael Riva.
I don't know who
On
that
location in Los Angeles and New York. Fun fact, actually, the entirety of the second movie will be filmed all in New York State.
Well, it kind of should. Anyway, okay.
Actually, I was going to suggest, Shuri, would you like to go next? Since
Sure.
you're- since you know, Michael, you're kind of the newcomer to this movie series.
Well, this particular trilogy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was actually surprisingly more fun than I expected, aside for a couple of cliche moments like what Jova brought up with the camera. And, well, the villain being not completely one-dimensional, but just not very interesting either. The music was great. I really like what they did with the first-person view for Spider-Man in a couple of scenes.
Yeah.
And it was nice to have a girlfriend who's not Princess Elise, basically.
Oh, well, to be fair, Mary Jane was not that bad.
No, I know, but like for comparison's sake, it's like it's either her or
she wasn't that
it's
much
either
better,
or,
though.
You know?
Fair
Come on,
point,
one's
you're
worse
right.
than the other.
Yeah,
But
agreed.
yeah, it was actually pretty fun.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm probably, from what you've all been saying, I've got to prepare for a shitstorm.
Yeah,
With
the
the
sequel. The sequel does have its good points, but it's mostly a really. It's one of those cases where the executives completely ruin what could have been a really great movie. And apparently it was, because the writers, Orkin Kurtzman, aka the creators of Transformers Prime and makers of Star Trek 09, which I love, they apparently had a great script according to Andrew Garfield, but Sony decided, nah. Let's ruin it by making it a prequel to our cinematic universe. Because
like I said earlier, though, I mean, yeah, SM2 could have gone so much better, but honestly, I'd rather have if I have to watch a not great superhero movie, I'd rather watch something like that over something like, say, Catwoman or Fantastic.
Well,
of
to be
course,
fair,
Dibs.
okay. To be fair, Dibs, that's like comparing a hill of crap to a mountain of crap. Because let's be quite honest, Amazing Spider-Man 2, the likes of that and Spider-Man 3, those are like silly bad, but they can still overall be considered movies with structures that don't crumple on themselves like a mountain of cards. Catwoman is like the kind of thing that you feel like you need to take a shower after watching. But
exactly.
Basically, Shuri, just to compare, Spider-Man 3 sort of put for a comparison's sake, Spider-Man 3 put the Raimi trilogy on hold to the point where Sony were going to, you know what, we should just reboot it because it's been long enough. Whereas Amazing Spider-Man 2 killed the whole cinematic universe in its tracks. Bad.
Anyway, I guess I'll go next.
Oh wait, are you done, Shuri?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, go on, Pedro.
Like I said, I actually prefer this one. Unlike Jova, I'm pretty much the opposite in terms of Jova here. I actually do prefer this one over the original Raimi movie.
He's the yin to my yang.
Even though I will admit that there were a couple things that the first Raimi movie did better, I think that this movie at the very least had a more balanced tone. I thought this movie. I figured that this tone should have been what Sam Raimi should have gone for. I'm not saying copying this one. I'm just saying the tone. I'm talking specifically of tone right now. I think the tone of this movie. I think this is what Sam Raimi should have gone for back in 2002. Because, like I said, honestly, the whole campy style. And yeah, I get that the Sam Raimi movie did have its serious moments here and there, but it did also have a lot of campy silliness to it. And I honestly thought that by 2002. We should have been a bit over that by that, especially considering what it did to the Batman movie franchise. But again, that's a topic for another day.
Well, like I will give him credit, though. He handled it a lot better than what's-his-name did with Batman and Robin. Joel Schumacher!
Well, that's hard. Anyway, yeah, first of all, the casting, it's still a cast that we have here. We have plenty of great actors in here. Sally Field is stellar. Even though she doesn't show up much, every time she's on screen, she's completely believable and emotional in the scenes. But Sally Field is, of course, a great dramatic actress, and she shows it off here as well. And she's going to show it off even more in the sequel. In fact, the best parts of the sequel are when she's on screen, because she's once again amazing.
She's one of the few things left to be amazing in a movie with the title "Amazing" in it.
Yeah. And like I said, despite its problems, that like the whole property Parker thing. I still do think that the story overall has more in it than bad. It has a lot of good intention. It does give that good, like for example, that good message of not taking revenge on your own hands and stuff. I like the fact that it took it in an unpredictable, bold direction for unlike the other directions, and I like that. I appreciate that.
Well, okay. To be fair, just to clarify, the other ones did clarify that revenge wasn't the solution. The main difference was him never finding the guy in this one.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Like I said, like Shira said, Gwen Stacy is, I think, a much better love interest than Sam Raimi Mary Jane.
I mean, have to agree, sadly.
And I'm talking about specifically in this movie. We all know what happens in the sequel, but let's stick to this movie for now.
She gets better in Spider-Man 3, but yeah, I won't deny she is really not that good in the first one.
In the first two movies, all she's there is to stay there and be a dumb bitch that gets rescued and moans about how Peter is not into her anymore.
How ironic is it that Spider-Man 3 of all movies is actually the one that finally fixes that? You know, being Spider-Man 3.
Honestly.
Again, except for that one stupid scene, I will admit. But...
Well, okay, actually, yeah. I guess I didn't mind her as much in the third movie now that I think about it. Yeah, I guess you're right there.
Well, it's because the third movie had a lot of other problems.
Well,
it's just one of those things, Jova. It's just one of those things, Jova. I'm that ending of the second movie left such a bad taste in my mouth that I've never been able to look at Mary Jane the same way. The Raimi Mary Jane, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I'll admit it didn't affect me that way, but I will definitely understand how it could affect you that way.
Let's just say, Shiroi, you probably don't remember, but whatever. I mean, Mary Jane's actions in the ending of the second movie are so despicable to me that fuck it. I give up on this person. This person is a piece of shit.
I didn't get that feeling either, but again, I will say that, yeah, your mileage is going to vary based on how you feel about that ending.
Anyway, Paige, are you done?
Yeah, like I said, I like the characters. I think they did a good job of being interesting enough, again, aside from the villain. And like everybody else said, the action and music are awesome. So, yeah, I thought it was a good take on the origin story. It had problems but I did like this one better because I figured this one had I think this one had a more, how should I put this? I think this one had more felt like it turned. Yeah, I think this one had more weight to it because of the more balanced tone. I think this one did a much better job balancing humor with drama, whereas the first one had a bit too much comedy for its own good. But that's about it. Go ahead, Lewis.
Okay. So I actually saw this in the cinema back when it came out in 2012.
Me as well. I did.
Did you, Jova?
Yes, I did.
I take issue I didn't.
Nope. This
Remember,
is the first time watching it.
I've only seen the first live trilogy.
Tio did, and well, long story short, audience, he doesn't really like this duology, and that's why he won't be with us on this.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's like we've established. There are things that this film does do better than, well, not just the first Raimi film. I mean, all three Raimi films. I mean, the love interests, the swinging scenes.
Oh yeah, that's right. Gwen Stacy was in the Raimi trilogy too.
Yeah, and look a lot.
Well, she was fine in there. Ironically, she was played by a natural redhead, while Mary Jane was played by a natural blonde.
Yeah, like that would be funny. What if, like in Spider-Man 3, they just switched roles for some reason?
Which is because Emma. Which is ironic because Emma Stone is a natural redhead.
Hey.
Oh, redhead.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, it's funny you mentioned that actually, because Spider-Gwen is a thing.
But anyway, yeah, it's a decent flick. I mean, it's not anything I'll willingly go out of my way to watch every time, but it's, you know, it has its good aspects. You know, it's the thing I remember most in this movie is the scenes.
Why do I get the feeling that Amazing Spider-Man 2 is actually a movie you would go out of your way to watch because of?
I have.
Yeah, because it's that entertaining.
That movie is such a glorious train wreck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
honestly, I think we'd celebrate it more for the fact that it kind of killed this. Well, okay. To be fair, we did get Tom Holland out of the deal.
Yeah.
Plus, hey, we also got some unintentional hilarity and stuff. Plus, we got that wonderful score.
I can't. No, I'm not gonna spoil that to you, Shuri. You have to hear that score fresh for yourself.
Yeah.
Well, I did like the main theme. The main.
Oh,
Yeah.
you know the thing we're talking about, Pedro.
I know what you guys are talking about, but I would just like to bring. Not a lot. People usually only bring up that and don't bring the main theme enough, I think.
Oh, the main theme's good.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
hey,
yeah,
Hans Zimmer was
technically-
kind of back to form with that.
Yeah, it's Hans Zimmer at his best, but also his worst.
Yeah,
I would argue-
definitely a good. Yeah, that's definitely a good description. He has some of his best works here and some of his worst.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
Go
okay,
ahead.
okay, but so yeah, overall, this film is good.
Yeah, it's fun.
All right, so
That was our commentary.
that's-
We hope you enjoyed it. We apologize if we were kind of debating a lot, but trust me, folks, we'll be in a lot more
Well, that
unity.
is kind of the point of a commentary.
True, yeah. But don't worry, folks, we'll be in unison with each other quite a bit, I predict, when it comes to the sequel.
see you, everybody.
See ya.
So yeah.